anyone have any last minute questions or concerns or anything? Everything look right on the spreadsheet?
Yeah, it looks good. Blair's missing 1 hit point from her max, but otherwise I'm really nitpicking that one, or magic point, but really nitpicking that MP.
So is Cassandra and Edgar and you. Everybody's max MP went up.
Yes. Disgusting.
The only thing I have, because like in about 10 minutes or so, I have to go downstairs to check the food. But other than that, I don't really have any concerns. I'll mute myself when I go to do it.
Okay. How about the loot from last time? I'm pretty sure Edgar picked up the anklet, the accessory.
I was thinking Levine could make use of that big tree trunk for certain situations, but I wasn't sure how to. Because it's like, here, I have it pinned. I can pull it up too. Yeah, the ancient tree limb. It's a 2-handed staff, might plus might. Like that sounds like a Levine's alley. The iron bark plate also sounds kind of okay, just because Levine's magic defense is a little low, so depending on that too. But it would be one of those things where like we'd have to trade off. I feel like she's gonna be the only person to really make use of either of those. Because I don't even know if Cassandra can wear martial armor.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Wait, she is a weapon master, so she might be able to. So that could be.
I
don't know
think
where her stats
I
are,
think
actually.
she's a guardian as well, which can wear martial armor.
Oh, okay, that's right. Weapon master, guardian, and elementalist. That's right. Otherwise, Levine's a little broke. That's about it.
Let's see. So, does everybody have access to the spreadsheet now?
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, does anyone have it open?
I do.
Here, let me know if you notice anything about your HP real quick.
I'm dead.
Okay, good. So that updates live for you. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I figured it might work better for yeah, than trying to watch the stream of it.
So I'm gonna go ahead. I've colored all the tabs at the bottom, so all the green ones you folks are free to look at. The red ones are just gonna be me. And if you touch those, I will explode.
I'm gonna look at mine just quick. Yo, sick. It's what I was already looking at earlier, wasn't it? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Which link are we looking?
It should also be in the pins.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
It's in the pin messages.
Yeah, but there's. So is it the DM dashboard?
Yeah, the DM dashboard, I think.
Can I spend Fabula points to remove my poisoned condition to get rid of weak and shaken at the same time?
I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah, can I spend 2 of them or 3 of them to get rid of all my status conditions?
I've just forgotten the rules of Fabula points mostly.
Okay.
Do we
still trying to find that theme? Can't find it. Sad.
Oh, is magic? Is resting in a magic tent cure that? I can't remember. Allows the entire group to rest. What does rest mean? Rest. What does resting gives us? Searching for rest? Bad idea. This is why they have indexes.
So I don't think you can use Fabula points just to cast cleanse on yourself or anything. You can, at the time that you may potentially receive a negative status effect, you might be able to spend one to alter the story or the circumstances in some way to prevent it. But afterwards, yeah, not so much.
Okay, that makes sense. So I thought there was something I read about the status effects in the ultimate or in the Fabula points, but I couldn't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, also the game was No Man's Sky that I was thinking.
Oh, yeah.
No Man's Sky.
Yes. Okay, yes. I should have clued in, but whoa, my drink exploded.
Dang. Excited drink.
Well, I was holding it.
Is it a kombucha?
It is not. It's a root beer. Or diet root beer. Or
No.
diet soda stream root beer.
Now I want soda.
I believe you mean pop.
Fizzy blibs.
I guess I also want to preface today's session with I really have no control over you guys anymore. I kind of was able to corral you last game, and that worked. But in the future, what you may decide to do may be completely different from anything I could have possibly imagined, and so it's very much going to be a test of my improvisational abilities. So I'll do my best, but really, you folks are really in control of the narrative right now, and I will do my best. I have created some characters and contingencies and ideas and things, and I have guesses as to what you might do next, but it's really, I'll do my best with it, I guess is what I'm saying.
That sounds like a general role of a game master, but that makes sense.
You're going down, Sinus.
Fantastic. Alright, so, kind of catch us up from last time. What happened? The crew, our group of adventurers, saw Desdemona flee the crater city and left on an airship back towards Ilonia, and Cassandra in particular noticed that they were flying a flag representing Desdemona and her group of people. And then you folks decided to disable the weapon that you found in the crater. And while you were successful in doing so and recovering parts, not quite as much luck figuring out exactly what the Elonians were interested in the crater for, or what they were doing there, short of Desdemona's personal goal involving Tristan. Cassandra now holds the amulet that supposedly contains Tristan's soul, and you folks trudged back to the airship to find Olivia and no one else. The rest of the crew had been captured in the forest, and there was a little puzzle there to be solved and a little boss fight. But now it seems that Blair stayed behind and was able to resist the call into the forest, but ended up falling to some cursed pumpkins. And the rest of the crew went in and saved Captain Leon and solved the mystery of the forest. And got a bunch of loot, and that's pretty much where we left off. So Blair is still currently surrendered / unconscious. So let's start out with what Cassandra, Edgar, and Levine are doing.
Levine is dual wielding her sword and the tree limb and is just hammering the crap out of the tree that she has just chopped apart. She's
I
taking out some frustration on it. Just. Over and
think
over.
there is an ability to be able to wield two-handed weapons in one hand, but
Oh, she's not doing proficiently, that's for sure. It's like she's gonna hurt herself or someone. And after she does that, she like drops the tree limb down. She's panting, heaving, and then she's thinking, Olivia's okay. So she's gonna turn to Leon and see how he's doing.
oh,
Leon,
cool.
you
And
okay?
we just got a really cool image, so thank you, Cassandra. Go ahead and put it in the spreadsheet here. So this is the flag that I believe Desdemona's ship was flying on their way out.
Ah,
So really cool. Nice job with that.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Compliments to the artist.
go ahead and put that in our world information here. And eventually I want you folks to be able to put your notes and everything in the world info tab. But for
Makes
now,
sense,
it has
yeah.
very basic stuff.
Okay, I'll make sure to use that a little more for that. That would make sense. But yeah, Levine is checking with Leon too, seeing how with it he is, making sure he's not injured or anything too, as far as what her steps are. I don't know what everyone else is doing, but
Well, Leon is thankful to have come out of that unscathed, and definitely happy to see you folks again coming to his aid. And you see now that lots of other members of Leon's crew, though not all of them, are starting to emerge from the trees, and the canopy is opening up, and you can tell that where once the forest was preventing your exit, now you are much more able to get your bearings and no longer feel restrained and restricted in the
yeah, I guess for Levine it's mostly just counting heads, how many people are down, probably coming to the growing realization that we should probably figure out where Blair is with all this.
Yeah.
Actually, Levine will probably start asking any of the crew, have you seen Blair? Because
Yeah.
she has no idea where Blair might have ended up after all that.
Well, as far as we're aware, she just didn't follow us, or Blair didn't follow us in to the fort. So, but I'd say the
Oh,
first step would be to just walk out, go back to the ship.
All right,
No,
so
yeah,
Levine's gonna
I
start
can see
carrying
that.
hoisting a lot of the loot on her shoulders to kind of get that moving.
I'm gonna try to see if I can kind of rig a what is the word that I'm looking for? In Civière, a stretcher for
Oh, yeah.
Olivia, who got mangled.
Oh yeah, we can use some of the tree limbs for that.
Let's see.
All right.
Let's start stripping off parts of his bark.
Though maybe just a bit of a reminder. Is she like, I know we had healed her, but is she conscious, shaken? And I don't mean by the mechanic, but
Yeah, she's conscious and a little bit injured, and I would say shaken in terms of scared, but not shaken in terms of
mechanically. All right. So it was her arm too, right? So maybe we don't need need a stretcher, but I can just try to make a splint or something.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Or like a sling,
Yes.
depending on what's wrong with it.
All the right words, the ones that I am not using.
Well, a
Alright.
splint would work if it's like broken though. You would want to splint like the bone.
Yeah, to like keep it
So-
straight. I just don't know. Yeah, don't know the
General idea seems to be like take care of injuries, gather up our stuff, and start heading back as soon as we can to the ship.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Do I have to do any rolls for that? Or oh, I need my dice.
Oh
Yeah,
shoot!
gosh,
I
I
was
don't have
already.
my dice out. Can you believe
I
this?
have. I made myself a little thing I can roll my dice into even.
They're in my backpack.
I mean, I could make a roll for a survival check too, as the leader this time for once. Like, I don't know if survival check needed, but like, yeah, if I'll take the charge if need be. The general vibe I'm giving off. Also, I don't know if Kel's is deliberately muted still,
Hmm?
or if she's wasn't sure if you were deliberately muted or trying to say anything. Just figured I'd double check.
Oh no, I was deliberately muted.
Okay, just want to make sure.
No
Alright.
worries, thank you though.
Let's do a group check per se, and we'll let Levine take the lead on it. And so I guess the general goal here is going to be to get everybody fixed up, accounted for, corralled, and treated for injuries. So everybody kind of pick a role for that kind of activity, and we'll describe some dice rolls and do kind of a group check to see how well we did with that.
Levine will be trying to take care of any heavy lifting, allocating anything anyone's carrying to people who are more able-bodied, and setting up stuff for that.
I will say
And kind of
Cassandra
just sorting
technically
through.
isn't doing very well.
Yeah, because Cassandra needs some more. Cassandra needs more healing than most other people. Actually, yeah,
So
Levine
she's
is not.
probably gonna help, but maybe not be the most helpful person. Be like, yeah, no, you're totally doing so good, guys. Like,
Yeah, actually, Levine might not be doing better than some of the crew at this point.
And I don't help with the group roll, right? Because I'm unconscious.
That's right.
Thanks.
All right. Well, I would say for Levine, you're definitely doing a might check, and then you can pick the other die, whether you think it's more of a might or more of a dexterity check.
I think it would probably. I mean, I guess it'd be a little bit of both. Either they're the same roll anyways. They're both a D8, so. So yeah, I guess 2 D8s.
All right, go for it.
Just a lot of like moving around, shuffling, organizing. I got a 3 and a 5.
Okay, and then Cassandra. What's Cassandra doing again?
Since she's kind of like she's poisoned, weak, shaken, all that jazz. Like, I don't think she's gonna be super helpful with a lot of it. To be honest, she's not doing well, but I do think she's at least going to try to be like encouraging and not be like negative about the fact that she feels unwell, and like just try to be like a positive, like kind of like help, maybe like take a head count kind of thing, but like do very simple stuff that she can manage with how she's feeling.
All right. I would say that, let's see, and I am going to switch to the general idea here, as long as it works well, that I will pick one of the dice for you folks to roll, and you can pick the other one for these types of checks, and kind of reason out why, you want it to be one or the other. But I would say, given Cassandra's condition and the activities you've described, that one of your dice must be willpower for this.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, if you didn't say willpower, that one of them should be willpower. Maybe insight, because she's trying to remember how many crew members there were.
That sounds great.
And like how many they're missing and stuff.
Go for
So
it.
it's 2d6s. I got a 3 and a 5.
Okay. And then how is Edgar assisting in this?
All right. So as I mentioned for Olivia, so I'll be trying to patch her up. If any of the other wounded are there, I'll try to fashion some various slings or splints or other shenanigans that they may need.
Okay. I'm gonna say that one of your dice for this check is gotta be dexterity.
Oh, all right. So I suppose I mean probably my insight to see to triage the those who are at most need versus those who are not.
Yep, I think that's fair. And then also, folks, you are more than welcome to double up or double down on a particular stat.
Yep. No, I feel like this makes more sense.
I agree.
Insight is a general all-rounder for out combats. That makes sense.
I got a 5 and a 3.
Oh my gosh. Well, fortunately, this was a pretty
man.
low threshold check. A success was a 7 on this one.
That's good.
Nice.
Because you're not really facing any antagonistic elements right now. In fact, the kind of general mood in the forest is definitely one of more levity this time. And you can kind of feel it guiding your actions. And while the forest seemed adversarial at first, at this point it seems, especially since you're on your way out, you have a general positive outlook, and it seems to be helping out in a certain way. So all crew members are accounted for. Nobody seems to be completely incapacitated or beyond help. You folks have located your bearings and gotten everybody squared away and ready to go, and set up teams to help out, folks who are less injured versus more injured, and you're all set.
Nice. Also, hi Zinnia. Penguin.
So you folks make your way back out of the forest, and it's at this point that as you make your way back to the airship, you notice that Blair is not doing so hot. Blair is on the ground and definitely hurt, but standing over top of Blair is a new character whom you have not yet met. So, Penguin, would you like to introduce your character and let us know what our other player characters are seeing?
Yeah, hi. First of all, finally nice to meet you. Nice to finally meet you. Sounds better
Oh,
that way.
hi.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Let's see. All right. So you see a small girl, no more than 10 or 11. Probably the first thing you notice is that the sleeves on her robe are way too large. And if you're looking close enough, you can tell that she's clearly wearing an adult-sized robe, and she's just hemmed the bottom and the sleeves a lot to make it reasonably functional for her.
Okay.
You can tell from her long brown hair and her disheveled robes that she's been traveling for a long time, but she appears to be very hale and hearty. And yeah, if you'll also see a common gray and white house cat that's sitting kind of looks like in a sentry position, kind of like just sitting down, looking out towards you.
Oh, yep.
And then I'll leave it there, decide if you approach further or what you want it's going to do.
Sounds good.
Levine is going to immediately pause and
Totally standing
analyze
over
for
Blair,
threats.
by the way. It's like, what's this girl doing with our
Oh,
Blair?
wait, is this what we saw, or is this with Blair?
This is what you see coming out of the forest, and Blair is coming back to consciousness and sees the character of Zinnia standing near them.
Yeah, I think I might go into full sprint. Drop everything I'm carrying and go into full sprint up to the situation. Like I'm sweating already from like all the like being weak and shaken in the whole fight, but like just drop everything, immediate burst, screaming. "Whoa!"
Why would you scream?
Oh my god.
I don't
Why
want.
did you drop
her-
Olivia?
Right?
Okay, that's fair. Very gently, slowly puts down Olivia, and then full sprint screaming.
I'm going to grab the back of Cassandra, not the back of Levine's armor, and just hold on. I guess weakly, I suppose. But I'm gonna try
Don't
to
worry,
hold
I don't have as much restraint to humor right now, all things considered.
I would imagine Blair's kind of like doing that slow sit up where they're like very dizzy and like it's a hazy kind of view, like everything's kind of coming back into perspective, so they're like not very aware of everything going on right now because they got dunked by pumpkin monsters.
Yeah. As Edgar's approaching, he's probably noticing that Blair's looking pretty rough and starts digging through his potion pouch and just keeps searching and searching and unfortunately flips it upside down. It's like, got nothing left.
I also imagine Cassandra and I now just doing a very weak grapple session right now. We're just kind of awkwardly patting each other like cats almost.
All right.
Like level 1 duels.
Let's do an opposed check for Levine and Cassandra here to see
Okay.
whether Levine breaks free or Cassandra maintains a grip on Levine.
Might and dexterity,
Um,
or just one.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Both. I think you actually were even with that too, because you have a 10-6
Not
and an
currently.
8-8.
Not currently, but
No, I have a 8-8 and you have a 10-6, so
oh, I guess fair.
roll it up.
let's go. It's just 7.
I got a 10.
Okay. Levine starts to charge forward, but feels a strong tug on the back of their armor, a strong enough one, surprisingly, that completely stops them in their tracks for a moment. But I think Cassandra has sent the message, and kind of lets go and just like, hey, hold up here, what's going on?
Yeah, just sort of
And
like
Levine-
you gotta relax. You can't keep
Levine-
charging into everything. You gotta
Levine
chill.
gets like a huge head rush, like kind of like stumbles to a knee and is like, Uncle, times this.
I'd say at this point, you probably, if you're looking at Blair and Zinnia, you probably realize that Zinnia is being completely non-threatening and looks like she's,
Mhm.
worried about Blair.
Yeah. I kind of figured it's a little child, so I'm not gonna freak out just yet, unless it's proven to be an issue.
Speak for yourself.
Then again, how
Oh,
many
yeah.
times have you fought a tree before?
That's fair.
Yeah, it's just a pumpkin. How bad could it be?
And
Child is the most dangerous assassin.
at this point, Captain Leon has now kind of caught sight of this and caught up with you, and he calls out, "Hey Blair, is that you? Blair, are you okay?"
But Blair has a hand on their head and just sort of looks to the shouting and nods like really kind of quickly just to be like, oh gosh, stop shouting, like my head hurts, but doesn't quite convey it in vocal words. She doesn't say anything.
Just like waving your hand at them, like shut
Yeah,
up.
yeah, like stop. Oh my gosh.
How close are you to the airship now? Are you there by now?
Yep. So Blair fell unconscious basically at the airship, or not too far away from it. I believe they went out of the airship to meet the pumpkin in battle.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
But it's still
Kept them from getting in.
Yeah, I would say that everybody has good visibility of the airship, and Blair and Zinnia are kind of in between the airship and this party coming out of the forest.
All right.
Can I crack her open some heals? I don't know if that's necessary, but
Certainly.
Okay, I'm gonna form a crystal and I'm gonna give it for Blair and then crack it. Drink. You need this.
Yeah, so when Levine like comes up with the drink, like Blair kinda just sort of pauses and looks at it and then back at Levine, and you can kinda see like the shadow across their face, like you know, I was told to do something by you before, and I'm not sure about this, and kinda shakes her head.
She nods slowly and just kind of absorbs it back into her armor. She also smells strongly of like burnt rubber right now for some reason.
Wait, it went in the armor?
Yeah, it comes from the armor, so then she like cracks it back
Oh.
in and just
I'm
absorbs it
glad
back in.
Blair said no, that's creepy.
Yeah, it comes from the seams. It's a mixture of like her blood and a lot of other stuff too, you know. You got the armor polish and the hide that you mix in there with the herbs and that creates a filter that gives this crystal that heals you.
Yeah, Blair's gonna
Science.
push themselves up to try to stand and kind of wobble, and then, like, as they're standing, they kind of glance at Zinnia and incline their head, like, this looks like a new person here right now. Who is this?
I don't remember kids on this ship. So as you get closer, you might notice that this gray cat just looks really well kept. Like its fur is perfect, even though it's been, it's wandering around the impact site of a giant airship, and it's just like looks completely, like it's dressed to the nines, I guess, as far as cats go. It's well groomed.
Is it wearing like clothes, like some?
It's not wearing clothes, but it's just like, picture like the fawns, how there's never a hair out of place, like that.
Okay. Dang, that's a really fancy cat.
That's a fancy cat. And as whoever's approaching, it just kind of like stares at you unnervingly, like it's trying to suss you out, just like trying to figure out what your deal is.
Does the cat look like smarter than normal cats? I don't know.
So in my headspace, I kind of pictures like the opening scene of Harry Potter, where it's like Professor McGonagall as a cat. So it looks like a normal cat, but you're like, it's not quite acting like a normal cat.
Okay.
It's just like it's staring at you, like cats normally don't.
Yeah, Blair might like notice the cat staring and then kind of shift, like, okay, I'm gonna walk towards the airship now.
And then I guess Zinnia will say like, the pumpkins were hurting her. We told them to go away, but it was too late. And then they ran away, but we couldn't stop them. And you notice her voice is incredibly peculiar. Yeah, she's only 10 or 11, of course, but she speaks with like this incredible eloquence and confidence, not what you expect from not what you expect from a small kid just kind of wandering around in the wild on their own devices. So it's kind of high pitched like you expect from a young girl, but it's strangely resonant. Like it's just, and just say that. And she speaks very formally, more suited to like a courtyard than than this crash site. And you marvel at her vocabulary. Despite being a young child, she employs a veritable cornucopia of sesquipedalian lexemes that might obfuscate her significance of her palaver for some of you. So I'm not going to roleplay that all the time, but she's just like...
Yeah, I get it.
She's 10 or 11, but she uses words that like most adults don't understand.
So I will say
Levine will always be confused when you open your mouth.
Yeah, I will say Levine is like listening at first, but the more Zinnia's talking, she gets stuck in her head a bit, especially with the pumpkin stuff. And the pumpkin stuff too, so she's getting her head more about like, oh gosh, did I do this to Blair and stuff. So she's like churning that through her head right now. More and more, especially as Zinnia's talking and she can't follow anyway. So it's just like churning in her own head.
Captain Leon says, well, thank you for looking after our Blair. We're gonna finish the repairs on the ship. They're actually completely done, but we're all a little bit worse for wear. I suggest that we make camp for the night and be on our way tomorrow.
Sounds good to me.
Blair nods in agreement.
Out of curiosity, though, who are you and why
Right.
why are you here?
My name is Zinnia Bahachi. I come from Pennsylvania. And she doesn't quite know, but she's very attuned to magic, and so she was kind of drawn to the Forest of Yore. And so I've been wandering my way toward here, but Zither wouldn't let me go into the forest. He told me to stay out. And then we saw the pumpkins attacking your friends, and we tried to scare them off, but we weren't in time. So some of you, if you know like regional history of this area near the Forest of Yore, or especially people that are well acquainted with the Elonian Empire, you know that Pennsylvania is named for the surrounding woods, the surrounding forest. Its name means magic woods. And if you saw the map, it's on the western part of this peninsula, right near, kind of pretty close to the Elonian Empire. And the people that grew up within and around these woods are very attuned to magical energy, and because of this magical aptitude, they've had little need or desire to expand their territory. Right, with magic, they can just kind of have whatever they need right there. So it's a pretty small nation state. And long ago, when Elonia's imperial ambition was fresh, they discovered these magic forest-dwelling people, and they struck a treaty for which Elonia would exchange scientific and engineering technology for magical knowledge. And that was actually kind of the foundation of Elonia's first steps into magic tech. So when you hear she's from Pennsylvania, you might have some reaction to that because they're, allies of the Elonian Empire.
Yeah, Levine would have because she didn't know as much during her time as a princess, but that would have been something that would have popped up while she was trying to learn more of national affairs, and it's something that is going to put her even on more guard than just Zinnia standing over Blair, but she's still going to be very quiet. At the moment, she's just kind of still churning in her head more and more.
So for some reason, Elonia is still allies with Pennsylvania rather than conquering it. And, it's debated. Maybe it's respect for this centuries-old treaty. Maybe they're afraid of the sage's power if they were to directly confront them. But most likely it's just because, Pennsylvania has no territorial ambitions, and so they don't really see them as a threat. They're just going to stay in their little neck of the woods, so to speak.
I mean, also that forest is probably hard to traverse if you're not. Seems like a good defense mechanism.
Yeah, there's just like magic everywhere.
Yeah.
And when they're in their home territory, they'd probably be, stronger than what are, further away from that source of energy. I can give you a little bit, like another paragraph on this history that I don't think anyone knows, including Zinnia. It's basically like just kind of debated among the upper echelon of her society. But I wrote it just for fun. So some of the people in Pennsylvania are wary of how the Elonian Empire has expanded so quickly in recent years or decades. I don't know what the timeline is on that. That's a question for scientists. In particular, some of them believe that the Elonians are kind of just sharing like the minimum technological advancement and keep the best for themselves. They're kind of like barely fulfilling the letter of the treaty and not really, being full partners in sharing their science. And due to this, the power balance has been shifting ever more and more toward the empire. And so a lot of people in the Pennsylvanian society believe it's just a matter of time before Elonia does, throw out the treaty and attack them. So some people there propose, let's dissolve the treaty before it's too late and maybe align with the Kingdom of Denova. And there's like a smaller subset to argue that, regardless of whether they're going to attack us or not, it's immoral to ally with this aggressive empire. Which is kind of thing that I kind of debated in the upper echelons of society. So like Zinnia's parents, are privy to these discussions, but she was never really brought into that because she's still just a kid. Speaking of which, her parents are sort of like minor nobility. Possible that some of you have heard of them, but maybe not. Anyway, That's
So-
that's the history of Manslovania and the present.
I think I would say that generally the Elonian Empire, especially the southern continent that's all by itself, has kind of been the territorial struggles in that region on that continent have been going on for a very long time. But it wasn't really until recently that they started to expand to the continent to the north of them. And what I'm going to do is, since it's actually Levine's origin, the United States of Armorica, kind of describe, the timeline of that. Was it a very... Did Armorica fall relatively quickly to Elonia, or was it a protracted battle, or how exactly did that happen?
Oh, it probably would have been a lot of diplomatic negotiations that could have even gone on for a couple of years, and then a war itself that just kind of kept dragging on and on and on. And people inside the United Nations of Armorica or whatever, people who were working with the Elonian Empire, there were like double agents creeping up more. And part of that was just due even to how Armorica treated their own people at times. So it's just a kind of a snowball effect of the continuous war, the treating of the people. And when it all came to a head, it was many people in the capital city died. Levine saw many people die at that time too, but it was a multiple year struggle that Levine wanted to be participating in more, but was often rejected from those meetings, and she was more supposed to be someone proper, not a war or a civil informant on these matters. She was supposed to learn etiquette and stuff like that instead, and she tried as much as she could to push against that until the day the capital fell.
And I would say that I would add to this that I don't think most of the nations in the world, or most of the people in the world, really expected Armorica to fall to the Elonian Empire. That there's something bigger at play here, that it hasn't really been captured in.
I think actually Levine might be privileged to some of the information, being somebody in the capital and all the people she knew and what she heard about them afterwards. Probably has information about that fall that no one else has, and she doesn't even know it. So
I would say that Levine is probably privy to that there was an overwhelming Magitech force is what there was. That it's been talked about in Zinnia's backstory here, that the Elonian Empire is generally kind of holding back their best technology and really delving into Magitech heavily, and they have access to a lot of the types of dark metal and materials that they would use for harnessing magic for Magitech purposes. And so Levine probably encountered some of that on the battlefield, and probably not to the degree that anyone really expected. That this would have to have been a build-up over a long period of time. But now it had reached a tipping point, and Armorica has now fallen and capitulated to Elonian rule. And with that massive shift in power and control, the Elonian Empire essentially spans most of the West, and it's only a matter of time, in many people's opinions, until they try to continue to expand their territory to the east. But the big problem is how to navigate the eastern continent. Is the continent to the north is very similar to Alonia's own conditions, but going east, weather conditions, seasons, everything is kind of a whole different animal for the Alonian Empire. It's at this time, let's see if I can get this to work. I'm going to start running a general clock.
Oh.
And so this is Elonian...
I think there's an extra T.
What's that?
I think there's an extra T.
Oh, yes, there is. So this is going to be a clock representing the Elonian expansion efforts. And so as time goes on, as our campaign progresses, the Elonians are going to continue to build up more and more forces and technology until they are ready to expand and perhaps strategically strike in another location. Now, our adventures may or may not play a role in delaying that, stopping that, what have you. But that is something that is officially there. That will be a so I would say the stakes for this is that Elonia is going to expand somewhere. We don't really know for sure at this point, but that is the way that it is looking for now. I'm gonna add another one for you folks. So Desdemona was able to escape in our last session, and so Desdemona is currently licking her wounds and basically recovering at this time, and is eventually going to recover and continue pursuing her previous goal, which seems to be resurrecting Tristan. And there is a connection to the Elonian Empire, and clearly she is welcome there and flies using their technology and airships. But whether her ambitions are directly correlated to Elonia's or not remains to be seen. So those are those for now. Not right now. Okay.
Out of curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
are either of those clocks ones that we can affect with our opportunities?
So I would say it depends on your proximity to the Empire, the operations of the Empire, and your proximity and operations relative to Desdemona. I would say that Desdemona, you don't know precisely where she is, but if you were to find out, be able to locate her, you may or may not be able to influence that or take advantage of that situation before she fully recovers. And then the Elonian expansion, I mean, I think the only way to get any further on that is to really continue exploring the story and figuring out more information about the world that you folks inhabit and kind of what tools and options you have available. I would say that there's a variety of different ways that you could try to thwart this expansion. You might be able to shore up defenses in a particular location in which you think that the Elonians may try to take next. You may be able to sabotage some part of their supply lines. You may try to take the capital. I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but I would say there's lots of different ways that you can affect this. You can certainly cancel it entirely if you resolve the Elonian Empire plot and try to either ally yourselves with them or convince them to stop expanding or some other solution in the middle. And then you could knock off segments. So currently its progress is 1 out of 12. So that's 1 filled space and 11 empty spaces. You may be able to subtract certain amounts of progress and delay their expansion by doing something like neutralizing a supply line or eliminating a key diplomat, or there's anything really. It's pretty open, but I would say that in terms of game mechanics, that's how you would influence it.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
And I guess secondly, is you describing Desdemona count as her entering a scene?
No.
I was trying.
Want some Fabula points?
I wouldn't say no to Fabula.
So, that doesn't mean that she won't show up later in a GM scene, but she has not actually entered the scene. I've just given you a clock, and I think I am supposed to give you that clock and let you know that that's running right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, something I figure I should ask too, because I don't remember how much you clarified this in the other 2 sessions, but
Sure.
Levine is, former princess. I don't know how many people even know of her backstory in this entire crew here.
Mhm.
I think Cassandra might be the only one who may recognize her, but I don't know if she's shared that with anyone else. I also know Drake is not at her computer at the moment either. So, but yeah, I was just kind of curious about that, how many people might recognize her, or because I don't know if she's shared her Fulbright name when I think about it.
So I would say that whether you shared it or not, you can retcon it at this point. I think everybody kind of arrived on the airship by their own means, and nobody really knew each other well enough to disclose that kind of information. So you can reveal it whenever you are ready, and or whenever it becomes relevant.
Okay, because I think she would avoid her lineage addressing any of it as much as possible, so she would probably just refer to everyone as her name as being Levine, and maybe an alias tied with that. But yeah, I just wanted to double check with that. Yeah, Levine Avril, good one.
I don't know if Blair would have any real knowledge about the other nobility in the world, but I would assume that there would be kind of like a brief overview, and things change. Not everybody is on the ball with updating it either, I would assume. So I mean, Blair might have heard of a princess or something, but probably didn't make any sort of connection.
I feel like that's a similar thing that Levine probably sees a lot of Blair in herself or whatever. Like a younger Levine feels like Blair is a younger her to an extent, so that's why she has that strong connection there. It's just like herself or a sister like bond.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of like a game recognizes game kind of situation, where you kind of realize that you might have had similar upbringings, and there's a certain why does this person stand out to me type kind of thing, and the details can be revealed when ready.
Yeah, and odds are you probably met in some sort of diplomatic event between the countries at one point, right?
I mean, depending on, because I know for like my headcanon, Blair's probably pretty young comparison, and Levine hasn't this was like multiple years ago for Levine that she that Armorica fell, even at that extent. So as far as I'm thinking about it, like a couple of years at least. I don't know what everyone else feels about that, but
Hey, it's your story. How long has it
it's
been?
our story. I was gonna say, yeah, just a couple of years, because she left. She had to heal after running, and she kind of started traveling the world trying to learn stuff, and met some engineers and blacksmiths who are gremlins, and that's kind of been her story of just wandering, just no idea where she's going. But yeah, like a year or two, I would say. And yeah, at that point too, she was already kind of older. So I don't know how old Blair is though, but like I would say Levine's probably mid-20s at this point. which isn't really older, but
Hmm.
Well, you're so old.
I didn't even like think of my character's age. Oh god. I'll get back to you on that.
yeah, that's fair. And I also feel like similarly with Blair, Levine wasn't as worldly at that point too. Mostly kept up in the nation itself, so
Yeah.
until the fall and all that stuff.
Yes.
All right. While lots of you have been kind of talking, getting to know Zinnia and where they're from, and kind of getting your bearings a little bit, Captain Leon has already started to set up camp and got a fire going and everything, and starting to ration out food.
Levine offers to help cook, and she's actually a really good cook when she needs to.
Is
when she
this
wants to.
camp being made like outside the airship, or are we utilizing the airship for the camp?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Are we utilizing the airship for the camp, or are we just like out by the forest to settle camp?
I would say you're currently outside of the airship, but the plan is to rest inside the safe walls of the airship itself.
Okay, so it's kind of both, I guess.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different from your previous stay here. When you were on your own, it didn't really make sense to stay inside the airship. You didn't have anyone who knew its defenses or how to run it. But now that Captain Leon is back, it's after you folks finish up eating, you're going to be able to rest inside the confines of the airship, although it will not have taken off just yet.
Yeah, Blair's probably gonna go up to Leon to see if there's anything they can do to help.
Alright, so Leon says, just check on everybody, take people food and help out with dishes, general kind of camp stuff.
Yeah, okay. So Blair will probably help out with that. And I mean, like, what is the general morale of the crew since they came out of the forest? I mean, I imagine they're pretty traumatized, I guess. I don't know what kind of experience they have with forest trees making them walk into the forest that's inescapable, but
So I would say that Captain Leon is a fairly grizzled individual. I actually have a page on Leon here. Ugh, I've got so many good notes that you will never see. Let's see.
you say this now.
I mean,
Yeah.
all we gotta do is click on that tab, right?
All we have to do is finish off Alonia, and then we'll be like, man, what did Cyanus write about this moment 20 episodes ago?
So you get the impression that Leon has seen a lot in his day, mostly because if the check clears, he's in. So the Leon and his crew are no strangers to adventure. And while this certainly was a detour for them and something they weren't prepared for, they're also fairly resilient and kind of know that this kind of comes with the territory. It's going to be a great story for them to tell when they get back to the pub and kind of relive this moment and relay those tales to people who never leave the city, who never get that kind of excitement.
Gotcha.
Also, we got a bunch of magical wood now, so
That you do.
So much magic wood.
Yeah, so Blair would probably get food and pass it around.
I'll say that as you're talking, you might have been surprised that Zinnia was just like completely forthcoming and guileless. Like, just she's right off the bat said, "Oh, I came from Pennsylvania," even though it's an ally of this huge empire that everyone is very wary of. Like, she just, completely unworldly in that sense. Didn't think anything else hearing that fact.
no, everyone else here is, Yeah, like Blair and Levine in particular aren't sharing anything about their backstories. Cassandra's not been super. Edgar has nothing to share in particular, really, but
Whoa!
no offense, Edgar.
I have plenty to share, just nobody has asked.
I think
I mean, it's fair. You did lose an arm.
I think Blair kind of walked out of earshot when that was divulged to Edgar with Zinnia. If Blair heard it, there might have been some sus looks there, but she walked away.
Blair was coming out of like being incapacitated by poisonous pumpkin, so that makes sense too. She's kind of not with it.
Yeah, and there's a lot on their mind right now, so they're kind of oof.
Anything?
Cassandra's honestly just resting, just so everyone knows. She's just chilling. She does not feel good.
Anything anyone else wants to accomplish or talk about or anything before you folks rest for the night?
Now Levine's mostly going to make a nice meal, help make the meal. And I don't think she has much else she wants to do for I mean, there's a certain amount that she doesn't want to bother Blair. I mean, she does. She wants, but she also had got like a certain vibe when she told her no, not to drink the crystal, the perfectly good crystal to heal her. So she's kind of got bad vibes,
Edgar is gonna go up to the ship's chef and the cook and be like, listen, you need to look out for Levine. This one drinks chicken fat tea. Cannot let her serve that to people. Please.
She's actually working on a big stew, and she's like whisking. She's got this huge whisk in it, and she is stirring it super crazy. But it's like getting a nice stew going. She's getting some herbs that she's chopping up, super minced up. Well, because you want to make sure you get all the starch kind of mixed in there well, so it gets a nice good consistency, right? So she's like chopping up these. She's really good with a knife, so she's like chopping up these parsley, these spices, these herbs, and it's just this huge pot of great smelling stew.
Good night.
And then she takes the chicken skin that's left over and just starts swallowing that after she's like mostly done.
So let's do
and drinking sugar water.
Let's do a bit of a contested check here. So Edgar's trying to convince the chef, hey, don't let Levine near the food, right? And Levine, having volunteered to help, is chopping vegetables and doing prep and stuff like that. And so the chef is going to weigh what Edgar says and how persuasive he is against Levine's performance in doing food prep right now. So I'd like to have Edgar...
Just to be fair, he's not saying to not let her near the food. Just say to keep an eye on what she does with the food.
That's fair.
I just don't want chicken fat tea.
Okay. Then let's have Levine do a dexterity and willpower check here.
Okay.
And it's no longer contested.
All right, come on, Levine. I mean, your willpower is weak right now too, so all the sweating into the soup might not be. I got an 8 and a 1, a 9.
Okay.
So the dex really pulled it out, but the willpower wasn't there.
Okay. So Levine is clearly doing a really good job, very dexterously chopping up the vegetables, and but you can tell that Levine is getting tired and kind of forgetful, and just like kind of redoing the same tasks over again sometimes, and so the chef kind of looks at you, Edgar, and is like, "Yeah, okay. I don't think she's any danger to anyone other than herself right now, but we'll make sure there's no blood in the soup, okay?"
That's all I ask.
She's chopped like multiple different portions of carrots because she keeps going for the celery, but somehow she keeps grabbing the carrots. There's just so many carrots chopped up on the table.
Yeah, my headcanon was you were using your giant sword to cut these vegetables and it being absolutely insane, but the rolls were not quite there to support that one.
I mean, I imagine they have knives there. She loves using knives, you know.
Cool. Anyone else? All right.
Zinnia is gonna just wander off into the woods and hopefully come back with armfuls of fruit or nuts, and hopefully maybe some things that will make people feel better.
Okay.
Because everyone's kind of shaken, so to speak.
Let's go
Maybe
ahead.
Levine will try to make a special bowl for each of the crew, or each of the team: Blair, Cassandra, Edgar, and Zinnia. You know, the new person, Blair, obviously, Cassandra and Edgar after the fight we had. You know, just a nice special bowl for each of them, with maybe a few more carrots than they were expecting, but otherwise, you know, just.
Let's have Zinnia roll. Do a roll based on your ability to go out and forage for food, essentially. So I'm going to say one of your 2 dice rolls should be insight for this, based on, you know, your knowledge of, you know, the forest and the trees and what's edible and what's not.
Yeah, I think insight and willpower makes sense. She's probably talking to various bears and whatnot to figure out where the good stuff is.
Sounds good. Roll it up.
I got a 13.
Okay. Then I would say that you are more than successful. You come back with an absolute bounty of food, and you find enough not just for, you know, the player characters, but all of the NPCs as well, and the very fatigued members of this crew are very thankful for your efforts, because you're kind of the only one who hasn't really taken any hits, and so it seems like a show of good faith from Zinnia, especially the crew is now definitely favors Zinnia and is more welcoming in general.
Can we say
Levine
that a
will-
bunch of squirrels came back with like carrying some of the stuff in their mouths and stuff?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Okay, I'll trade them with my bowl of soup to it, and I'll say, like, tell Zinnia I'm sorry I planned to kill her.
It's terrible. It's
Who
terrible.
did you say that to?
It's
The squirrel.
to the squirrels. I don't know if the squirrels understand what I'm saying, but I assume they seem pretty smart. So Levine can only assume.
And I would say it's your
That's a
call
big
as
question.
Zinnia.
I think the squirrels relayed a message, and Zinnia is just like, nah, you probably misheard her.
Yeah,
Why
last
would you say that?
That sounds incorrect.
All right. Well then, everybody is going to heal from all of their status effects. And
Yay.
woo! Let's see. You're going to recover up to your maximum hit points and magic points. Unfortunately, the cooking was not quite good enough to get us like a health bonus or anything cool like that, but you all do recover up to your maximum hit points and everything. Your your inventory points remain the same for now.
Is
And-
my inventory point also low just because I tried to use a... I should make sure to make note of that. How much does a potion cost? Oh, I can see it there. It probably costs like 3. Yeah. Just
Yeah, I
wanted
think
to
so.
double check on that.
And I should give you those back actually because you didn't end up using it. So good call.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
All right. So that's going to be the end of that scene, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw a GM scene at you here. Sorry, 1 second. So, Desdemona has, and everybody grab a Fabula point for yourselves. I'll update that.
I'm flush.
There we go.
Fabula.
So, Desdemona has returned to the Elonian capital, where they are able to rejuvenate with the absolute best magic and mechanical technology possible. It's at this point that Desdemona is really reflecting on the loss that she experienced in the crater. She is furious. Not only did she fail to bring Tristan back, she lost the one thing that she thinks can bring him back. And to make matters worse, Tristan's soul is in the possession of this party. And so she is constantly angry and motivated to get back to health as quickly as possible and to seek out those who prevented the resurrection of her brother, or what she perceives to be the antagonist in doing so. And so we're going to go ahead and advance that one more. So Desdemona's clock is going to advance by 1, but everything else I think stays the same.
I will say too, Levine probably, like when she went for the final kill shot, she did hold back just a little bit because she wanted to. First, she was just going to try to cut her in half, and even though she might not have killed her anyways, but she has a little bit of apprehension that should she have tried to kill Desdemona, was that the right thing? Because in the moment of hesitation, she just didn't want to take her life, and she's going to second guess herself on that a little bit too.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think that's going to be the end of that scene. Since you were all resting, I want you to make a note somewhere that, and you don't have to do it right now, but you are welcome to establish a new bond at this point since you had a rest. And so I know that there were a couple of things that we're probably going to shuffle around, particularly with Blair and Levine, and now that Zinnia has arrived. But Edgar and Dragon may also be shuffling those things around as well, or feel free to take that opportunity to do so. And so just make a note that you can adjust your bonds if you would like.
I will probably add Zinnia there. Well, no, maybe. I feel like I should though. I gotta have one for each of the crew, right? Like the attention that Zinnia was helping with Blair does dawn on Levine, so now she feels like she might have been a bit harsh. So she has a certain amount of admiration for Zinnia. Zin. So I will add that.
I'm okay with that, and I would say in general, just as a general kind of caution, go with what makes sense for your character overall. And I think as long as you can reason it out like you just did, that it's totally fine to engage in those things, even if you have thoughts one way or another about it.
Yeah, fair.
All right. You folks wake up in the next... What's that?
Oh, sorry. We can only adjust one emotion.
I think so, yeah. So you can... I think you can add one, and if you have reached your max, you can erase one in order to create one. But I don't think we should be there just yet.
No. It's just because, I'm trying to work Edgar towards as much of a bond with Professor Harlan, because that would just make sense. So just making sure I'm not putting too much.
I think Zinnia has an affection for the weak and disadvantaged, and so she probably feels some affection for Blair because she came across her in a moment of devastation. And like kind of like a lost pet right now, even though she's the kid.
That's great.
I think that works. Something that works in my head as well. Another one to consider is, it seems to me that Zinnia is a huge advocate for animals, and seeing Levine be kind to the squirrels and share food with the squirrels might warrant a bond or consideration for that as well. And Zinnia definitely has room for a couple more bonds than everyone else, because we're doing a little bit of catch up there. So I would say if you want to make an extra one, that would be fine by me. But for now, let's.
Well, yeah, not to shortchange myself, I think Levine's probably been a little standoffish throughout the day, and because of her awareness around Zinnia's past, so she's probably not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Although she's curious now that she saw her be nice to the squirrel.
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah, it was very standoffish.
So you folks wake up in the next morning, and Captain Leon comes to your crew and kind of checks in with everybody. And are you all ready to go? Are we ready to? Where are we headed?
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do we? Because we have the ship was going off in a direction that we assumed was towards Alonia, right? Was that what it was?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to double check. Sorry.
Yep.
What were you gonna say, Blair?
I was just kind of thinking out loud.
Oh, okay.
Because my understanding from the very beginning was we were checking out the force of Yor to stop the Alonian Empire, so of course Blair is kind of like, well, I'm not sure if we were successful or not, and is kind of leaning towards like I should make my return to the Kingdom of Denova, but isn't quite sure what the rest of the party feels and their directions.
What was the consensus on where we knew Desdemona was heading? Do we have any clear idea of that, like north-south?
It would be westward, out of the crater,
Towards
going
the
back
empire.
towards the Elonian capital.
Levine might suggest, do we head west to like Mansylvania in search of Desdemona? Because she's second guessing that, and she's thinking about that more and more. So she let her live effectively in her head.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go east regardless. We could go to the Mansylvania thing for Zinnia has a lot of knowledge for that area. Stormkeep is an option. That's kind of out of our way, to be honest.
So Leon says to you, you know, the airship was chartered out of Denova to go to the crater and back, and if there's going to be any additional detours, that there might have to be talk of additional funds in order to make that sort of detour, because otherwise he's not necessarily making money.
So we have to go back to Denova first, is the idea. Because I don't think we can afford to pay him for some detours.
Right.
I'm assuming it's very expensive.
Edgar walks over with his pockets clanging like very loudly, like he's got a very filled coin pouch. But he opens it and it's just all gears. It's like, oh.
Levine opens up her pouch of money, and it's just 25 coins, and she's like, yeah, I can't. We have like the stash deal we have to sort through, but even then it's like how much she can't reasonably math because, well, one, she's not good at it, but two, she can't reasonably logic that we should head west on the funds we have, so.
I liked picturing that Levine opened like a pouch and a moth flew out. Like that was what I thought you were going for.
That's so funny. That's exactly what I thought about myself. And I'm like,
I was
it's
gonna do the meme of the guy looking down, opening the wallet, and then he just tilts his head up. I'm just thinking about that meme, but that also works. Here, I should share it.
Zinnia's gonna look uncomfortable when people start talking about going to Pennsylvania, and kind of get a little sigh of relief when she finds out we have to go back to Denova. Or somewhere
Levine
else.
is just chewing her nails.
What is Captain Leon's impression of Zinnia? Like, is there any like obvious judgment there?
Well, again, Leon and his crew, were able to enjoy a bounty of food thanks to Zinnia yesterday, and food and money talk, right? If you're helping out the crew, then you're doing right by Captain Leon, and I think that has gone a bit of a way into Leon indicating to Zinnia, hey, if you want to hitch a ride with everybody else, you're more than welcome to. Not sure what kind of journey you're on or where you're headed, but happy to have you along.
Gotcha.
And Zinnia will say, it's been a long time since I've been around other people, but I need to speak for the animals to the people. This sounds very convenient.
All right.
Excelsior, let's go.
All right, cool. So Captain Leon ushers you all aboard, and would appreciate. He's down a couple of crew, not too many, but he's asking if any of you are able-bodied enough or have some way that you might be able to help get the airship started and in the air.
Wow.
The hardest part is taking off and landing. Once you're in the air, it's not too big of a deal. It kind of runs itself and everything, other than navigation. But how is anyone interested in helping the airship get off the ground?
Cassandra.
Levine is-
halfway through into the engine room
Yeah.
already.
Yep.
Cassandra would be helping.
I will say Levine might be able to help with the sails as she traveled across the current between Dark Armor Mountains to the east on a makeshift raft with a sail during turbulent storms. So she's pretty good at managing sails, at least from just personal experience.
Okay. So it sounds like Levine is on like rudder control type kind of stuff and sail maintenance. Edgar's headed down to the engine room. Did I hear Cassandra going a particular place?
Cassandra, I think, because Leon's most likely going to take his place as captain, she's probably going to defer to him to see if they're, because like if Levine's gonna, she probably actually would help Levine with the sail, because it's a big job. Like it's not really like a one-person thing for the sails and stuff. So I probably would maybe help Levine with that while taking direction from Leon.
Okay.
Nice, Edgar. Nice money.
Thank you.
Zinnia and Zid are just running around grabbing things for people or putting things back where they go, like little interns.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm trying to think what Blair would be doing.
I just want to
Probably-
Google, what do you need to do? How do you sail a ship?
I
What
think
handles
Blair-
like a harp?
What?
I mean, you can always sing sea shanties or air
Oh
shanties.
yeah, we can improv one that'll totally work. Levine's a natural singer. Death metal.
I think Blair will just go kind of topside with the deck to, just sort of see where she can contribute with the crew on the main floor. And kind of keep morale up since, that was their effort last time before they crashed.
All right. Well, let's do a group check to see how smooth this takeoff is. And I'm gonna go in. I think. Are we? Is everybody? Everybody's done something different here with their names on Discord. Some of you are your character names and your actual names in parentheses, and some of you are the other.
Should we put our character names first? Would that help?
It doesn't matter. I'm just going to go down the list as it is in order to do kind of a group check here. So, let's see. Does anyone want to lead the check?
I could.
I guess I could. Yeah, I'll let Cassandra. I feel like she has more professional experience, where mine is just like making makeshift rafts, but that's not the same as an airship.
If need be too.
Yeah,
because of my background identity stuff. So
I think that makes a lot of sense. So let's start with Blair. Blair is generally kind of running around trying to help people, and so I'm gonna say that. One of the dice you must roll must be dexterity, just to keep up with everything as you are trying to complete a lot of tasks in a short amount of time.
Gotcha.
And then you can pick the other dice roll that you think kind of fits what you're doing.
I'm trying to think. What is insight technically?
It's kind of like an intelligence or ability to deduce. I guess you could also think of it as a way to interpret instructions.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that. An insight with the dex check then. So let me roll that.
All
or do you want me to wait to roll?
Nope. Go.
Since you said it was a group check, I don't.
Yeah, so we're going to do everybody except for Cassandra first, but everybody's going to roll something a little bit different based on what they're doing.
Okay.
So let's have Edgar's down in the engine room. I would say Insight is going to play a key role into understanding the mechanisms that you're using, and then pick one other die roll for it. Levine, in order to manage the sails, I'm going to say that takes a certain amount of might to do that, so that's going to be one of your rolls. And Zinnia, let's see. Just to keep up with everything, let's say that one of yours is willpower. And so everybody kind of pick your additional die that you're going to roll and let me know what the total is on those.
I think for Edgar, I'm gonna go for insight and insight. Because that's the check for my Magitech override, and so it kind of feels like, since I'm working with Magitech, it would make sense.
Yep.
4 and 6, 10.
10. Okay, 10 is a success.
I have a 13.
That's a success.
I'll be rolling might and I think dexterity, because she'll be using a lot of heavy lifting for Cassandra, but it also requires her to kind of stay on focus, which could be a willpower thing, but also move around a bit when she needs. Cassandra needs her to, so it's gonna be more of a dex thing, I think, anyways. Probably in that realm, as more so doing the heavy lifting rather than taking the charge, but she still needs to be moving around a lot. So, I got a 9.
That's a failure.
You know what? I'm spending a Fabula point to add 1 onto that, because I really do not want to make Cassandra feel like I'm bad. So that should be a 10.
Is that
she has? What's that?
So you're using a bond with Cassandra to add 1 to your roll?
Yeah, is that I'm allowed to do that, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
she didn't want to mess up. So.
That's a success now. Okay. And Zinnia.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Zinnia's other die is dexterity, because she's running around trying not to trip over anything or have anyone trip over her. And she rolls a big old 5.
Okay. That's a failure. Cassandra, you have a +3 to your roll based on the 3 successes that we had.
I just imagine after we get taken off, Zinnia is just like under a pile of just random things that people are like dropping and putting down, and she just got like wrapped up in some ropes and.
That's great. I need to do a better
Sweet
job
Jenny.
describing that stuff. So Cassandra, I'm going to say that one of your dice for this has to be willpower, because you're trying
Okay.
to orchestrate lots of moving parts, and part of that
Oh.
is, dependent on your ability to direct other people and recognize problems and solutions as they come up.
Okay, I think I do willpower and dexterity, because if she's also trying to orchestrate stuff, I think she's probably moving between things and trying to like weave through the crowd and like not get in anybody's way, but also be there to like direct things if need be.
Love it. And your difficulty class is 10 for this.
Okay. Well, I should. Oh, don't fumble, basically. Hopefully, 'cause I got a +3 from everybody else. So. Yeah. So I rolled a 5 and a 4.
Mhm.
So.
All right.
So that's a 9 + 3 is 12.
Okay.
Success.
That is
Yeah.
indeed a success. It is a everybody has pretty much accomplished their job. Blair is able to run around and take orders and kind of help fill in the gaps. Edgar is making sure that all of the different moving parts are interacting with each other the way that they're supposed to, and kind of navigating any minor troubleshooting issues that there are down there. And Levine has managed to hoist the sails and catch the wind in just the right way. And Zinnia is exactly as described, has unfortunately just kind of gotten buried in the small stature. She's definitely making a huge effort, but unfortunately just kind of gets lost in the chaff a little bit. And Cassandra has truly shown her colors and is in her element as a Skyrider, and even Captain Leon is pretty impressed with the job that she's doing. She's very flight worthy, and so it's a smooth takeoff. It's not the best one that you've ever had, but you didn't immediately wreck into a tree or anything like that. So congratulations, you are in the air, no problems. Let's see.
Just a quick question, or
Hmm?
maybe slash comment.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to track spent Fabula points on the play sheet?
That's an interesting idea.
That way we remember for the end.
Right. Okay.
Because,
Let's see.
yeah.
So we've spent 2 today, right?
2 or just the 1?
I think
Two, I
just
think.
me, maybe
I think it's just the 1.
2.
Or 2? Say 2.
I spent 1, but I don't know what the other one was.
Didn't you do a bond earlier? And spend a Fabula point for that to make one for Zinnia?
Oh no, that was a free one we all got.
Oh.
Or
Okay.
during the rest, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, I think
So
it was
that sounds
Cassandra
good then.
trying to spend 1 to clear status effects that I was thinking of. So that's just
Yes.
Oh yeah.
yeah, just 1 spent there. Okay. All right.
Also, I will, if nobody notices, Zinnia, obviously Levine will help pull the squishy person out of the pile.
So, this is
Protect the squishies.
not a full day's travel by airship. It's going to take probably 2/3 of the day, so you'll likely arrive in Denova in the evening. But you travel up and out and are able to see the vastness of the forest of Yor now, as well as the crash site is kind of this big gash next to the crater itself, which is still this kind of now much tamer purplish energy hue. It's much duller. It's no longer glowing and vibrant with life, but just kind of a dull glow that lets you know that there's something otherworldly going on there, or something magical going on there. And we're going to be traveling over top of the Haldiak Fields, which, Blair, if you have any particular description you would like to impart as to what you were thinking about when you designed the Haldiak Fields, kind of what that looks like, or what the significance of that is.
Yeah, it just looks like a really long stretch of Greenlands. There's like some rolling hills and stuff, but it kind of looks really nice on a partly cloudy day. Like, it's like your typical, oh my gosh, adventuring fields with like shrubs and, your occasional animal that crosses by. A lot of people probably travel through here because it's open and there's not like a lot of room for like ambushes and stuff. So it's a very suitable, fields to cross.
Mm-hmm. I would also say, when I imagine this, that maybe the Haldiak Fields are a place where it's easy to farm, right? To
Yes.
pursue agriculture, and this might be home to a couple of more farming-oriented villages, things that tend to be spread out in general, or very very few structures for very large swaths of land. And there may even be a well-traveled path between a particular town, let's call it Haldar, after Haldiak Fields, and Denova, in which food is transported to Denova, and other people can go back and kind of travel that path. It's a known, being part of the kingdom of Denova, there is frequent travel between this area and the Denova capital itself. That all
Works for me.
sound good?
Yes.
Let's see. On the way back to Denova, does anyone see anything else of interest or have any questions about what is on the way there?
I would definitely say Blair's near the front of the airship, kind of watching below. But nothing really standing out. She's just kind of keeping an eye out.
Levine will probably take some moment to try and approach Blair and just ask, like, hey, how are you doing? What happened, Just stuff like that. Kind of just take a little moment to kind of approach her. Very, very coy for Levine, too.
Is it like a subtle, stealthy approach? Or are you making yourself known? Like, is it like concrete stomps or what? Like, how are you approaching Blair?
For her, it's probably as stealthy as she can be, but she's also probably still just wearing her armor. So it's just like her. You could almost sound like she's dragging metal on the floor, so you can kind of hear that coming up slowly from behind.
Yeah. Blair wasn't expecting company, I guess. So like, hearing the sound and then like seeing Levine, there's kind of like this, I wouldn't say like a jump, but it's kind of like her grip tightened on the side of the ship, like she was leaning her hands down on it, and it was just like, ooh, like I wasn't expecting that. And like, as Levine like kind of asks what happened, Blair kind of just like takes a moment, has that like expression of like a Vietnam flashback. That's what happened, and it's just like a whole shadow crossed over their features, and then they just said, it wasn't pleasant. After, was it Olivia that got pulled in, right?
Yeah, it was Olivia. Had her shoulders snapped and stuff. It was all.
Yeah, Blair does not recount the detail of her distress, as much as she tries to sort of convey to Levine, like, I went back to the airship, I tried to see if there's any way to call for help, I was unable to get help, and then these creatures came, and I tried to take them out so that the ship wouldn't be compromised further, and I was overrun. And then she's just like keeping her gaze away from Levine, like it's clear aversion.
Okay, so Levine definitely also has a similar sensation because she already has that. You know, there's a similarity here. She's even thinking back to the night the Capitol fell, and just like the injury she sustained, how cold it was that night, and stuff like that. So she's kind of going white in the face, and all she has to say is, "I'm sorry," and then she kind of does the only thing that she thinks can make sense is she goes on one knee and kind of just bows and says, "I'll do better as much as I can next time. I'll do better next time."
Blair sort of like takes in this gesture, and with this whole mistrust that she feels with Levine, it's just kind of like a nod is given, like to affirm and acknowledge, like, yeah, I know you'll do better, but it's not like Blair feels a need to rely on it because they've already felt like that was already breached because of what happened. But they try to give the benefit of the doubt, but there's no real vocal affirmation. It's just like a nod, like, okay.
And as Levine gets that, she stands up slowly, turns around, slowly walks away. Inside her head is like just this absolute storm, you know, just like her heart was like ripped up through her throat, put into her head, and just put through a whirlpool. That's kind of how she feels. So she's just walking away, just very normally, but that's like the feeling she has.
Yeah.
Just the huge sense of guilt is basically it.
Yeah, Blair is definitely recollecting on, what happened to everybody and how their duty was not really upheld to protecting these people that came with them to investigate the creators. So there's a lot of disappointment with themselves as well. So it's not like there's any blame on anyone, but there's just, I have to be more careful about how I engage with future comrades or companions that I work with kind of mentality.
Alright. Anyone else have any other conversations or things they want to explore?
I do think Cassandra would probably talk to, she probably would have listened in on the conversation that, just to see what happened with Blair and stuff like that. But I think she would also talk to Edgar a little bit about, what had went down in the forest, and, just kind of checking in to make sure that, everybody is actually okay after the fact during the travel and stuff. It's I know we rested, but, a lot of that was, it was a lot for people, so checking with, Edgar and with, Levine and stuff, just to make sure they're actually doing okay after, the travel with the chest.
Okay. Let's do a contested check here to see how much of Blair and Levine's conversation you are privy to, because it's an eavesdrop, right? So I would say that part of that is going to be willpower for you, and then let's have Blair and Levine also roll insight as one of their die, to see if they can tell that they're being eavesdropped on.
I'm gonna do insight and willpower, I think.
So just insight?
Insight plus whatever other die you think is suitable for this situation.
I'm actually gonna roll 2 insights for Levine because I feel like she would just not be super good at picking this up anyway, and she's so tunneled in on Blair, so I'm just gonna roll 2 G6s because I actually feel like that's.
Yeah, I got a 12.
Holy crap! I got an 11.
Okay.
With the willpower, what? I'm sorry, I feel bad asking this. Like, what kind of application would that be for?
Willpower is kind of like your general charisma, your ability to basically push through a difficult situation, or you could also use it as a way to intimidate or persuade people as well. Kind of that general niche.
I think I'm gonna do 2 insights too, because I can't really see how the others would apply. So.
Okay, sounds good.
Shit. 12.
Oh, so we tied. I'm gonna add a Fabula point so I can succeed.
Can I do that too?
Levine is. You
I'm
both
basing it on my
know.
theme of doubt. Do you have a reason? You
I
can
do
add one?
paranoia because
That's
I feel
fair.
like I let the party down, and I'm a little self-conscious about people overhearing what I say right now.
Yeah.
Is that your theme though? Is paranoia?
Well, no, duty. I don't want to give people the wrong impression. You know.
That's
Okay.
fair.
What happened? So, what happens then?
So, I think I agree. Cassandra's theme fits really well for the spending of the Fabula point here, where Blair's does not as much, and so I'm going to go ahead and say Cassandra can absolutely take an extra point, and it was already kind of a difficult check that was rolled really well on. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Cassandra picks up the vast majority of what was said in that particular conversation. But there were parts of it, that are rattling around in Levine's head and Blair's head, the things that are left unsaid that aren't quite as clear to Cassandra. But you got most of it.
Yeah.
I feel like if anything too, she could be at least because Levine is so just kind of open at that point. Maybe she glossed more from Levine than she did from Blair.
Yeah.
If I were to suggest anything, because I did fail that, but yeah.
No, and I was gonna mention because after she would if she actually successfully overheard a lot of that stuff, I do also think that she probably would check in with Blair because she doesn't know what Blair was going through until we discover her fainted or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Zinnia's description of what they came across, but not much beyond that. So there would be definitely people because I do think Cassandra sort of sees herself as an older sister to everybody here, even if she's not the oldest. She just sort of feels that way about everybody here because being a former captain gives her a sense of responsibility to the people around her in that way.
I think I would say Cassandra is probably the oldest, but I think Levine would probably be a close second if she isn't.
Okay, that does make sense. But yeah, she's just gonna take that conversation, try not to, and just kind of go up to Blair and just just try to talk to Blair, I guess, and just maybe not about what happened, but in a distracting way.
Okay, right
about
now.
Kind of. Well,
Okay.
maybe just kind of because we need to make a plan about what to do next. So I think maybe refocusing on what to do next rather than what went wrong would be a good way to push forward and something that Cassandra would want to do anyways, because her theme is doubt and she is very doubtful of the stuff around her, but at the same time you can't always be pessimistic. So
yeah. So yeah, if Cassandra would approach and bring up that conversation, Blair would probably say offhandedly, I think it's a good idea we get back to Denova, and I'll check with my sources on any activity of the Elonian Empire, make them aware of Desdemona and what happened there, and what was taking place in the Crater, see if anybody heard anything, kind of just information gathering, and do what she has to for her theme of duty. Maybe. But she would not convey that, yeah, I'm planning to go talk to my dad, the king. But yeah, that's crossing her mind right now.
No, that's totally fair. But you're like basically like the general gist of the plan. Cassandra will also mention this, like, and not trying to be like secretive about this conversation in any way either. Like she was thinking about maybe writing to some people in Stormkeep, because Stormkeep is an island out in the ocean. So they do kind of, and with like the flying ships and stuff that they have access to, they are kind of more worldly, and they get a lot more rumors and stuff that come through there. So she's probably gonna like write to maybe some people there to see if they've heard anything about like any more rumors about Desdemona and stuff like that. I don't know if that's a thing I can do, but yeah, I'll write back. Basically, just talking about how I'll write home too or whatever.
Yeah.
And like get some information that way, and just try to maybe build up a more positive like mood before we set out on some stuff.
Yeah. Blair definitely kind of feels a little bit better having talked about something other than what happened, so you might see like a hint of a smile kind of working its way on their face, like, oh my gosh, like a normal conversation that doesn't feel like I'm a failure right now. This is great.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of pressure when you're like expected to lead people, and I think Cassandra can relate to that. So
yeah, and I mean, like, while Blair talked to Levine about what happened to them, Blair's kind of getting this like itch to ask what happened, so you kind of sense this like look from Blair, like.
So Levine never told you what happened. Okay, so yeah.
So Blair doesn't know what happened when you guys went.
Levine felt too guilty to extend the conversation, so she just left after that part.
Blair kind of is like, so what happened to you and Edgar and Levine and Olivia and the crew?
So when Edgar and I figured out that like turning around made you like be pulled into the forest, we kind of just kept walking until we came upon this clearing with a very angry tree.
Blair's eyebrow kind of raises, like, angry tree?
Yeah, it was a couple of them. Some very angry, I assume they're kind of like forest spirits, but they're taking the shape of a tree kind of thing, but like a very angry tree.
Was it living? Like, did it look animated?
Yeah.
Like, Blair's asking you this.
Yeah, it was living, right? It was like a living tree.
Yep.
Size.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like a tree construct, but...
Yep.
Just like, I think Cassandra too would maybe try to make the battle seem more like exciting or something, just to like, to make it to where Blair isn't worrying about what was going down in the forest. Like, no, we had it the whole time. We definitely weren't struggling with figuring anything out. It was smooth sailing. I did not come back poisoned. You did not notice that.
Yeah. And Blair is like, I had, you know, my experience with the pumpkins, so I guess it kind of stemmed from what happened with the angry tree. I'm kind of curious how they came out here when all that seemed to be going on in there, like, you know, just sort of like, what the heck?
Well, I mean, we were taking damage from the tree during like a small battle, so maybe that had something to do with it.
Yeah.
But we managed to defeat it, and you saw all the magic wood that Levine carried back, so I mean...
Yeah. I will also say, like, as
Levine is screaming at the two-handed limb arm, like, this is your fault!
And I would say, like, throughout this conversation, like, this, Sinus, I didn't make a bond during the camp phase, so I think at this moment, like, Blair would have a bond of affection towards Cassandra just after this conversation.
I think you're not actively doing anything right now. You're mostly resting, so it's fine with me if you want to make that bond now, but I'm not offering an additional one.
Oh, no, yeah. I don't normally make bonds all the time.
That's fine.
You ask, so I just wanted to point that out. Like, this felt like an opportunity.
That sounds like a good one.
I also might actually talk to Edgar too. It kind of, because I don't. Did I say anything about this? I know I said I created the bond with him, right? But I don't know if I really elaborated on that. So I will say, like, I go up to Edgar, like, Edgar, you did well out there. I'm in a bad habit of breaking anything I need to fix. And you showed there's far more you can do without just breaking things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you should always try to fix something first before breaking it. Sometimes it's already broken.
I never even thought about that. I literally never even thought about that.
It's really
Levine actually,
anime conversation.
this actually dawns on Levine. Like, I actually just break things half the time, even if they're not broken. She just breaks them. Then she just kind of walks away, just slowly, just thinking more, just kind of spacing out.
He's like, oh, well, okay, bye. Fun chatting.
She's gonna think about not breaking things for a bit.
I would say at some point on this journey that Olivia, our traveling merchant, who's also along for the ride, approaches Zinnia and asks you, "Hi, I love your kitty. Do they have a name?"
Did we lose Zinnia? We lost Zinnia.
Well,
Maybe they went AFK for a moment.
They're typing mic dropped BRB. They said in the voice channel.
okay.
Oh, I see.
Well then, they're gonna start that conversation, and we'll circle back to that in a minute. I think Cassandra was also gonna check in with Edgar.
Levine was
no,
also
I
gonna
was
check in with
sorry.
Zinnia.
My brain took a moment to process that you were referring to me. No, yeah, I wanted to go and check with Edgar because I know he collected some materials, and I was going to see if he needed help with any of that or help because I know he's a tinker, and it is something I feel like Cassandra would be slightly interested in. Just because she's used to ships and magitech in that sense, so I think she'd be slightly. And then she's also interested in the armor with this that Tristan was made out of, and stuff like that. So I think she would probably go and try to talk to Edgar about magitech stuff, just to kind of wrap her head around it a little bit more, so she can kind of understand what she was seeing before initially and stuff like that. Because it did take her a while to process what she saw go down.
So as soon as Cassandra starts mentioning anything about seeing about the Magitech stuff, he pulls out this gigantic book full of his designs that he's made over the last 6 years. And it's just a lot of it is absolute nonsense. Like a Magitech spoon. It's just from spoons till death machines, right?
So Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, a little bit, but you can definitely tell some of it are when he was a kid. He is allegedly a young inventor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was putting him at around 16, 18.
Yeah, I kind of Edgar
most.
does give that vibe of a teenager. So.
So a lot of it is from when he was real young and just a little bit more foolish, but you can see that this is a book he's been adding on to for ages.
Just ripped binding that's been extended.
It's well, I've got so many ideas. We've got all these parts that we got from the machines. I saw that the armor that I saw the mark from Professor Harlan on there. So if he made this, then I should be able to find some way to make this as well. He showed me everything that he knows. I think so, anyways. So that would be really, really interesting. But
definitely would be.
But I did have other kind of maybe crazier ideas, but
okay.
I think I'd have to do a bit more research on that.
Cassandra's gonna gesture towards the book and then may I look at it?
Oh, please.
And then I think she'll just sit next to Edgar and just kind of flip through the Magitech book and while he rambles at her about his ideas.
Oh yeah, man. So you'll hear everything as soon as you flip to a page. If you don't ask about it, he will tell you anyways.
It feels like a good bonding experience.
Cassandra, make an insight and willpower check.
Okay. Okie dokie. My insight is a d6. You got a 5.
You understand none of this. It is. It
Fucking
is.
computers.
The drawings are not only abstract and they are difficult concepts to understand, and with Edgar also kind of at the same time trying to talk to you, your brain just doesn't really process anything. I think you're yeah, I mean, I think you would be able to help, but you would need some pretty explicit directions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm great at following directions, so just I think at that point, if she doesn't really understand it, she's just gonna like smile at his enthusiasm and just be like, you know, like, yeah, this is great. You're so good for you. Like, just doing her best.
Okay.
But I was wondering if I could get some time to maybe, you know, look into this compass of ours. I'd love to learn more about it. I promise I won't take it apart.
Okay.
I think Cassandra was the one holding it, right?
Yeah.
Oh yes, the compass thing. Yes. I will definitely let Edgar examine that. I trust him enough to know that
Take
he's
it
not
apart.
gonna like. Yeah. Not Edgar. Just
Takes out a hammer and a
to the
chisel.
ground.
Like,
All
as
right.
soon as he had the tool, he pulls out a screwdriver, goes to unscrew it. He's like, oh, no, wait, no, it just said I wouldn't do this.
Right. Just...
All right. Edgar, you're going to attempt to examine this compass that definitely has a magical nature to it, but also a mechanical nature to it. But it is a complex piece of machinery.
Oh, yeah. To me, this is a long-term kind of study thing.
So, for right now, to try and get any information from it, let's say did you say you were going to take it apart or no?
No, I'm not going to take it apart.
Okay.
Because I'm afraid of what might happen.
Then let's say an insight check.
Okay.
Difficulty class 16.
Oh, I don't think I can. I mean, I can if I crit. I don't.
No, I can't. I don't think I can help you. We already
Yeah, no.
established that I sucked. So.
I only got an 11.
Is Zinnia aware of this going on, or is she busy with Olivia?
Zinnia can absolutely be a part of this.
Oh yeah.
Alright.
That's fine.
So I think she'll probably just watch him fail this time, especially since he already rolled. But so play it out, and then I'll say something.
No, it's fine. Cassandra and Zinnia can roll a group check on this to add to Edgar's roll.
Okay.
So both of you double insight checks. Your difficulty class is also 16, though.
I can't. I can make it if I crit then.
Yeah.
Get 2d6s. That's so funny.
I think Zinnia's got an honest to God shot at it, though.
I got a 6 and
Yeah.
a 4.
I rolled 7 on my 2d10.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh no.
Okay, and what did Edgar roll overall on this?
I only got an 11.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, this thing, you can tell that that it is heavily magical in nature, but you are looking at something, the mechanics of this thing being a compass and the parts and the metal that it's fashioned out of makes sense, but the magical component completely eludes you. You can't get any additional depth on this.
Out of curiosity, now that the shenanigans in the forest are complete, and that we're farther away from it, where does the compass point?
That's a good question.
Sorry.
I never thought to ask that. That's smart.
Alright. I gotta be a bad GM here and ask you if I've said that it points any particular direction other than when you were in the forest or working around the forest.
Yeah,
I
I think it was pointing towards the forest, right?
Yeah.
And then when we got in there, it started spinning.
Okay.
So it just seemed to be attracted to.
All right.
Magic
I think I've got a thing here that will make it work. Edgar is currently holding the compass. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is pointing west. West, and I would say west northwest is what it would. Yeah, that's what it would be called. West northwest.
It's pointing at.
It's pointing home. Pointing at Pemble.
I'm using my Switch to talk
Kinda,
these things
yeah.
on my computer.
United States of America.
I did also want to ask if we could establish right now that whenever we rest, Cassandra will go over to Edgar and hand over the compass so he can examine it again.
Sure.
Because I figure if we keep trying, it's got to get easier, right?
Zinnia will say, "You're never gonna figure out," in her super resonant, creepy voice. "You never figure out how it works just by looking at it. You have to use the study spell."
Oh, sorry, I didn't notice you there.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's fine. I'm okay with that. We can
Put
do
it
that
on Zinnia.
once a day, essentially. So let's circle back to Olivia's conversation with Zinnia. Oh, I love your kitty. Do they have a name?
Yeah, I want to add on that Zinnia tells you that she knows a ritual that helps you understand magical items.
Ooh.
Assuming that's okay with you, Sinus. She has the ritualism ability. It seems like
Okay.
a perfect opportunity to use it.
Okay.
Next time they get a chance.
Okay. That's fine. I haven't actually done a ritual yet, so that might be interesting. But yeah, let's finish RPing the airship here first, and then I think we're gonna head for a break, and I can read up on ritualism while we're on break.
Oh yeah. That stuff too is a little confusing me yet.
But yeah. So does your kitty have a name?
Of course, this is Zither.
Can I pet Zither?
Zinnia looks over at Zither and says, "Can she pet you?" And Zither seems okay with it. She's
Okay.
a cat.
So Olivia has some animal insights. She's generally kind of a kind soul, and her nature, she's not a human per se. She's a human with animal-like characteristics. She's able to kind of pick up a little bit on how Zither would want to be kind of introduced and pet, and kind of goes really slow and kind of lets Zither lead a little bit, and is generally gets along with Zither really, really well. Olivia says, "Thank you so much. It's so great to have you on the ship. Where are you heading? What can you? I'm traveling the world as a merchant, and I kind of hitched a ride on this ship back to Denova. I found some cool stuff down in the crater that I'm hoping to offload and pay for my next trip."
Out of character, how much backstory do you want? Because she has one.
What Zinnia would feel comfortable sharing with a relative stranger who kind of got along with the cat. You get the impression that Olivia is someone who's pretty well traveled, and is you even if you part ways in Denova, you probably will not have seen the last of her.
Yeah, this seems a good good time to just tell everyone. I'm actually an octuplet, and this year we took our exams to get into Scholomance Prep, and I wasn't doing too well. The headmaster called me into his office and was going to let me know, and I heard him say something like, "I never should have listened to your mother," and I asked him what he meant, and I found out that I didn't actually originally get accepted. My mom convinced him. She said, "What are the odds that 7 out of these 8 octuplets are magically proficient, and I am not?" And it turns out I'm not very much, but I've always been very in tune with my kitty, and I've told everyone that she could understand me, and I could understand her. And so they were going to kick me out at the end of the semester anyway, so I just left for home. And in my father's library, I found this book, and she holds up this big tome that she's been carrying around, and called All of Chimerism. And I found out that I am a chimerist, and I'm very in tune with animals, and I actually can talk to them. And so I decided to leave home. I just grabbed my father's robe and my mother's crossbow and went to live in the woods with the animals. And I see that a lot of people don't treat animals very well, and I want to change that. And so, yeah, I'm heading where I'm led. I don't really have a particular destination in mind.
Wow, that sounds really difficult, Zinnia. I'm sorry you had to go through that, but I'm happy that you'll never be alone. It sounds like you and Zither are real pals and are gonna be there for each other wherever you go. And I hope you meet lots of people and get to share that happiness and that knowledge with them. And please, anytime you need help, and I'm in the area, reach out to me. I've always got a treat for Zinnia, and she, pulls something out of her pouch that definitely looks like food. You're not 100% sure what it is. Do you trust Olivia enough to allow Zither to take the treat?
Yeah, I'll let Zither, approach her and let Zither sniff it out and trust her judgment.
Okay. Zither walks
Zinnia
up.
does not misgender her cat.
Zither walks up and kind of takes a sniff at it and kind of looks back to you for a quick moment. And I guess this is where I would let you kind of dictate, what would Zither do in this situation?
I think, can Zinnia do an insight check to see
Sure.
if this food seems safe?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I would call it insight plus insight.
I rolled an 8.
An 8. Olivia seems genuine, and based on the fact that the company that she's traveled with and everything, you believe her to be a shrewd business person, for sure. But she seems genuine about her care for animals and her interest in you as a person.
Yeah, so Zinnia will nod at Zither.
Alright, Zither takes the treat.
Fairly quick to trust people. Because
Yep.
she's a kid.
Cool. Zither kind of chows it down, takes a cautious bite and then kind of chows the rest of it down in a hurry. It must be pretty good, and Zither lets out a little and kind of brushes up against Olivia once before immediately returning to Zinnia. And let's see, does anybody else have anything they want to take care of on the airship or conversations they want to have? I'm going to go ahead and...
Not that I can think of, no.
All right.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, Edgar would like to have a talk with Zinnia at some point, but we can just do that a little later.
Cool. Well, let's go ahead and close out this scene.
There was something I was just thinking about with Levine, and particularly Zinnia's cat, and like she doesn't really interact with people much. Most of the time she interacts with people, she's like cracking open their skulls or something. So she's thinking back to Gimme and Jangs, particularly Jangs, because Jangs always tells her, like, brush your hair, you gotta make sure you brush your hair, you're gonna keep getting those knots, and he's just got this nice fluffy coat that he maintains. He's got like a bunch of combs and stuff, so he takes very good care of his hair, and she taught him how to fight, or he taught her how to fight in crisis, because he's just a little guy, so he's always fighting in crisis. So and she's like at like a bit more in the trip, just trying to like brush out some of the knots in her hair, just slowly, the brush that he gave her, so she's just working on that a bit. Just lost in thought. Just wanted to add that bit.
Before we start, Son,
Yep.
do you think we can have a sidebar with you?
Yeah.
Maybe in voice channel too, so these guys
Can it
don't
go
hear
on
about it.
stream?
Oh yeah, on stream's fine.
Okay.
As long as they're not listening on stream. It's gotta be secret to them. Alright. So,
What's up?
here's what I'm thinking. If I'm learning more about this compass, well, eventually. Okay, so we know that the soul is stuck in there. And we know that this is going to be a kind of a point of, like, you know, if Desdemona is still alive, she's going to be upset about this. I'm going to want to try to figure out how to build a device to be able to either communicate with the soul within the machine. So maybe like something I plug this compass into, which will then let me speak with the dead, if possible.
Yeah.
So just a heads up, that may be the project that I am gonna work on.
Nice. It's got a cool Ghost in the Shell vibe. I like it.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like exactly the Ghost in the Machine. You know, it's just like, So, and if it can give me more information about if my Professor Harlan worked on that armor, maybe I'll find out how he got put in there, etc.
Sounds good.
So, but he's gonna keep that on the down low, not to get his own hopes and everybody else's hopes up.
Okay. Cool.
Viewer.
Sounds good. Let's head back up.
Perfect. You're all gonna die.
Good point.
Maybe.
Why are we all gonna die?
You're fine. Let's see.
That's not a
I think
reassuring
too.
thing to say to me.
The airship. We're all
We're
done.
fine.
New characters.
So, does anyone have anything else they want to accomplish on the airship before we get to Denova? I know that Zinnia mentioned a certain type of ritual, which we can do on the airship or we can do later.
Yeah, I'll leave it up to you if you want to say that we already had our one attempt at it today, and we can wait till the next time, or we can try it now.
It's really, it's up to you folks. I would say decide as a group, because ritualism is definitely a group activity, and the one thing I will mention that I was reading from the manual. Hang on a second. Let's see. I don't want to get it wrong, but essentially, While powerful and extremely flexible, rituals consume large amounts of mind points and require difficult magic checks. Additionally, failing a ritual will cause the magic to spiral out of control. With these downsides can be mitigated with time, effort, and complex procedures, the truth remains that ritualism is a powerful resource, one that should be used sparingly. So, just as a heads up, bad stuff can happen if you don't succeed. And it's the word catastrophe was used in here somewhere, or catastrophically. So I don't know how crazy I would get with it, but just know that that is a risk going into it.
So it can fail
I will
like in a catastrophic fashion. We should not be on an airship then.
We should probably not be several hundred feet above the ground.
Yeah, we wait, in my opinion.
Can we like buy things to possibly like tools we would need to complete the ritual more efficiently from like say when we get to Denova anyways, like try to look for some supplies for that?
There is an option.
Or is that's more of a project thing too, but
no. You can let's see.
because I was also thinking about taking the supplies we got and just putting it into like the team pool for now, because it also seems weird to divvy out the money much otherwise a little bit at the moment until we kind of finish our mission anyways, because that's we're all kind of in this together at the moment.
So I have a note here that says reducing the cost of a ritual. The spellcaster may provide an especially rare or powerful ingredient. Doing so will cut the MP cost in half. So in terms of improving your odds of success, there's nothing in here specifically about that. It would generally reduce the mana cost, or excuse me, the mind point cost. And I would say, well, I don't want to give you too many details about the difficulty of the ritual and everything before you attempt it, but you know, I don't think mind points is going to be your problem here.
Okay. Maybe a project thing even, or maybe a...
You can always ritual sacrifice a cat.
Edgar.
No, that was Mal. That was not
Okay.
Levine would have chortled to that too, though.
No.
I was actually going to ask if we could do like an insight check or like an easier ritual that lets us know how complex this mechanism is and how difficult the ritual is likely to be.
Sure. That is something you can do. The players very much dictate what their desired outcome is, and I kind of build the difficulty and the consequences of success or failure around that. So you could step off the accelerator and instead of solve the mystery of the compass and get all of the information, dial it back to, you know, something a little bit more basic than that. But yeah.
Yeah, so actually I was imagining this would be more like a clock thing where we cast a ritual several times and sort of study it over many castings rather than trying to understand the whole thing at once. Also.
I was going to suggest a compass clock thing earlier too, so that makes sense to me.
So my understanding of rituals is that rituals gain clocks when you're in conflicts. But we could say, yeah, I think given that you folks want to study this over a long period of time, that we can set up a clock for it. I don't have one pre-made for this, but I'll make one when this session is over. This is a major plot point. So I'm going to call it 10 sections worth. And there may be other ways out in the world other than just you folks looking at it once a day that might add sections to that. And
I was gonna...
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, go on.
It'd be
I was
fun
gonna
with
say-
like an because we're going to assume find an expert.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, do we know what type of magic user do we need to look out for? Even like, do we know what kind of magic would help with this?
Well, the best thing to do is probably what Cassandra suggested and ask around.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, sounds like a good idea. I like it. Good idea.
Surreptitiously,
Cass.
maybe, but yeah.
Metagaming wise, I feel like it's an entropist, but
I mean, is that really metagaming?
So
oh, that's fair.
Or is that Cassandra's general knowledge of magic?
No, that's just me metagaming. I mean, like, it sounds like an entropist that we need to find, but
Okay.
I do think that, like I said, we could still do like the study ritual too. I don't think that's a terrible idea. I just think, like I said, that we should definitely wait on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that what Edgar performed is probably, we'll call it just a regular group check, mostly into the mechanics of it. And if you want to do a ritual, you could still complete that and attempt to understand and ascertain more information about the magical nature of it and how it works and what precisely it does.
I would propose a study ritual just to determine what school of magic it is. Or, like basic information.
Yep.
Like that.
Yeah. Let's see.
Either a ritual or just a normal check. Either way is fine. Whatever you think is more appropriate.
Well, I think ritualism ritual would be fine for this to get general information about it, and then we can kind of hone that, from there based on some of the results and, some of the bits of information that we learn about it as we go. Spoiler alert, it may not be totally decided yet.
We'll fix it in post.
In general, it seems like we have 2 missions with Denova, though. Find out more about whatever Desdemona was doing and leaving for, and find out more about this compass, right? I don't know if we want to split up the group for that, even.
Well, for now, why don't I introduce you to Denova, and you folks can think about what you would like to do. So the airship comes into the dock without too much of a problem. And when you step off the boat, you are greeted, not so much you, as Captain Leon is actually greeted by Wharf Supervisor Annalise, who is definitely a larger framed woman. She's in charge of the Wharf District here in Denova, which includes both waterbound ship ports as well as airships. They all kind of leave from this centralized location on the eastern side of the city, and the Wharf Supervisor Annalise immediately recognizes this is Captain Leon's ship, and her frown from having to deal with all the other crap of the day quickly evaporates when she sees Leon, who clearly she has some affection for, and they embrace immediately and get to talking, how, what happened on your trip, and I'm glad to see you're back okay and everything. And Leon wraps an arm around her and says, "Oh, you'll never believe what happened to me in the forest," that kind of thing. And you do see some money exchange hands, but maybe not as much as you would have thought. The other thing you see as you look around and see all of these different ships and airships that are docked is there are many people going about their business, mostly quiet and related to ships, but there's one person that stands out, who is talking to anyone who will listen to him, and he shouts "Are you lost? Are you feeling like there's no one else you can turn to? Come join us at the Commune of Radiance. There's a home for everyone. Don't despair. We're here to help." And other than that, you have arrived at the wharf, and you can decide where you would like to go and what you would like to do from here.
Well, Levine's first. Oh, go.
If
go
Radiance is is it obvious if Radiance is Radiance versus Radiance?
Radiance.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Not just a math nerd.
Yeah, I was just gonna say too. Levine probably like chuckles a little at that statement, like "Heck, fat chance." And also, I don't know if she would know. Worf, was it?
Wharf
Supervisor
Master
Worf?
Annalise.
No, Wharf
Okay,
as in
Annalise.
WARF.
Annalise. Okay, I don't know. Levine. I feel like Levine has probably also met her on a few occasions coming through the city. Most of the time, Levine is either coming in after just being bloodied from some mission, so she's just kind of leaving bloody footprints on the docks and stuff. So Levine normally doesn't interact with anybody. She just kind of walks by, ignores everyone around her. But she's probably been through the city a few times in the past.
And I guess at this point, Olivia is also kind of offloaded, and she says, "Well, I'm off to the big city. See what kind of money is able to be made here in Genova. Do any of you need anything before I go? My offer on IP is still good."
How
Well,
much is that offer again? Because I got...
is it $5 bucks a
5
piece?
Zenit per IP.
Oh, sick. I'm gonna spend 10 of my 25 coins left, and I'm gonna refill that quick. I'm gonna get a bunch of hide and herbs and start getting that mixture. Actually, I should have not done on the ship anyways.
Are you still? Because someone was out of money before, right? Was that Edgar?
Yeah, that's Edgar. He's out of money and out of IP. Well, I got
Here.
one IP left.
I'm gonna give Edgar my... I'm also gonna give Edgar my 15 Zenit. Like, here, don't go spending it in one place.
It's gonna cost me 45 to refill at $5 a piece.
Yep.
So I'd
And-
have
and-
70 Zenit left.
Oh,
That's fine.
But
Thanks,
also,
everybody.
don't forget my 15, just wanna make sure.
Well, he can keep that for himself.
oh, sweet. All right.
Because he might need it.
I got some spending money. Maybe I can afford a hotel now.
Wait, no, I need that back.
I mean, if I don't have the... Oh,
I actually don't have it. Here, you can have... I'll take 5.
no, you take it back. Take it back. I can... worst comes to worst, I can go to the House of the Radiance. Looks like they're welcoming everybody.
Levine is like staring at you just super long and hard as you talk about that, and he's like, "I'm going with you."
He's like, I don't know. He's not entirely serious, but at the same time, he doesn't quite understand that it feels like a cult. At least to me.
Levine feels like at this point she wants to put both our heads and our 15 Zenit together, so she's gonna stick with Edgar for a little bit.
All right, Edgar, were you able to afford a refill?
Yeah, because Cassandra paid for it.
Okay. How about? I think Cassandra's full. Blair, are you filling up?
Yeah, I'll give 10 for the last 2.
All right. Cool.
Thank you.
And with that, Olivia bids you goodbye, and
I don't know if you have any more treats.
Thanks you all for pulling her out of a difficult situation, and definitely spends an extra moment with Zinnia and Zither and passes off another treat and pets the kitty on the head, who now immediately takes it trustingly and offers up a cheek to Olivia's hand. And she waves and runs off to check out the bazaar and other shopping areas that she can find in Nova.
Zinnia is absolutely beaming and has never seen anyone, even her sisters who also have cats, just get along so well with Zither.
Wait, I also just realized, technically we have 50 apiece of Zenit from the spoils of the battle we could all take. Because it's 5, 250 divided by 5, so we could just do that
really?
quick.
Now,
Yeah,
I don't want to
you-
be a jerk, but, Zinnia didn't really fight.
Yeah, Zinnia is not. I was gonna say.
Zinnia
actually,
saved Blair. Zinnia saved Blair.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair.
Zinnia thematically would give some supplies to Edgar and say, "I can find more," which you can't do mechanically. So mechanically, I'll just give you some money. Like, what was it? 5 Bennett per IP.
Yeah. So so everybody's throwing in their money at Edgar now, and I'm all up for it. But
I think I am gonna add the 50 to mine though, just to have a little bit of spending.
yeah.
So that'd be 200 from that pool and whatever else wants to take from that.
I'm like, oh, that's okay. You don't worry about that, Zinnia. Maybe
Okay.
later. If I need some later, I'll ask you. Don't worry.
And I think Levine does want to actually kind of go with Edgar and like stuff he's trying to work on, because she's also getting curious about how he does that potion raid, and like he's just got all these little tricks, and it's like it's like a Neanderthal watching a like David Blaine doing tricks or something.
Blair's going to see her father, right? Or see their father, right?
Oh yeah, I would say when the airship got there and everybody was kind of doing their thing, Blair is probably sneaking off, like trying to be kind of inconspicuous with the party and people at the dock, because their face is probably recognizable, but it's kind of a fast scooting. Like, yeah, there was no goodbye, it was just sort of, I'm out. I'm sneaking out.
All right, roll dexterity plus insight.
Okay. Let's see here.
Should we make any opposing checks with it all, or?
Yeah.
Only if you're interested in what Blair is
I rolled
doing.
a 16, baby! That was max
I think-
up with die.
So you got a 16?
Yeah.
Anyone checking against that?
I would have to get the
Pickle
max
beans.
amount on both of my dice.
Well, for anybody looking for her, it would be insight plus insight. A little
Oh,
different.
yeah. Well,
Again.
I still would have to get the max amount.
Yeah. Huh.
Okay.
I rolled 2 ones.
Oh no!
Oh no, that's creepy.
Oh my god.
Did you
I will
really?
try.
I did.
Okay. Well,
That's
you
so
get
funny.
a Fabula point for that.
I feel so fabulous.
You just like walk off a dock into the water while trying to see where Blair is going.
I got a 6 and a 2.
Yep. And yeah, gosh, what can I make happen to you? Gosh.
Maybe the Radiance guy is like coming up to Edgar or something.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
You're looking around for Blair, but
Exactly, make eye contact with this guy.
yeah,
Oh,
and this guy
shit.
notices that you're looking around like you're looking for someone, and he accosts you. Says, "Excuse me, are you looking for a place to stay? Have you heard about the Commune of Radiance?"
Oh yeah, I've heard just about it 30 seconds ago.
Oh, that's
When you first mentioned it, I have no idea what that is. Please tell me more, because he's too polite.
well, the
Levine is
commune.
gonna try to make an intimidation check too while it's going on, but go on.
Okay. For
You're gonna do it before or after.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll start, and whenever you want to try to cut in with your intimidation, just hold me up, okay?
Okay. Yep. Go ahead.
So the commune of
Clearly
radiance.
interested in what he's saying.
It's a group of us that are all together, and we share in the gift of the light, and we have our own little area in the residential district where we all take care of each other, and nobody goes hungry. Everyone has a place to live. Everyone's needs are seen to. You just have to do your part, and follow the tenets of the commune of radiance, and anyone is welcome.
I got a 10.
A 10.
Yep, I rolled a 10 for my. I did might and willpower. Figured that'd be it.
That was the moment.
Yep, that was the moment. And just the entire time, like Levine is like, there's this like shroud of black aura kind of growing off her. Her eyes are going black as she is just staring at him with complete spite.
All right, sorry, what'd you roll? 10.
A 10, willpower and might.
Okay.
Unless you want to reroll, but.
You succeed. The troubadour rolled an 8. So let us know what it is that you say to this person to intimidate them and get them to leave you alone.
She is just pluming dark energy and staring at him with dark eyes with red centers from right behind Edgar, just standing right behind over, like her head is right over Edgar's head, and she is just staring down at him. It's like this shadow is like growing over the entire area.
And so at this point, the troubadour is doing kind of their shtick, and he seems earnest and honest enough, but Edgar, you kind of notice that the troubadour's eyes kind of shift from you to behind you, and that kind of taller, imposing, grizzled figure, and that holy shit, that really big sword, and he kind of trails off and says, well, anyway, if you are looking for us, we're just southwest of the wharf. Come and find us. Okay, have a good day, bye. And quickly kind of gets out of that conversation.
Edgar will slowly turn around and look at Levine.
And just like a snap, her eyes just go completely sad, and she's just like, the face is droopy, just lacking of energy. She's like, are we gonna go get parts?
Well, I was gonna say, I guess not everyone was welcome at their House of Radiance, huh?
Okay,
she's gonna
goodbye.
make an intimidation check.
What's that?
She's gonna make an intimidation check on Edgar, same way.
Are you gonna?
Okay.
You gonna try to
that's
intimidate
just a
me?
joke. Nah, I think I'm good. She wants to, but she's gonna restrain herself.
I did forget to mention earlier, Cassandra would be with them.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because we're all gonna be looking for stuff. Yeah.
And yeah, Blair is so gone, you're not even sure she was really on the ship to begin with. Like, just disappeared. Gone. You folks have no idea where they've gone to.
Hallucination.
What happened to... What? Who was the other one? What happened to
They
Blair?
were here a minute ago, and now they're gone. We definitely need to look for Blair. But we also need to look for other stuff. So maybe they got excited and left the ship quickly?
And left without paying us.
What if they went to the Radiance?
Oh, that's true. We didn't
Blair's
We
the one who
actually-
hired us, and now they just ran?
I would have assumed she paid up front, TBH.
That is correct.
Above table.
Oh, okay.
So...
We got paid up front.
Oh,
yeah.
Edgar's
that's fair.
expecting a bonus and just
Yeah,
like,
damn.
Levine is
I
now
was just trying
worrying.
to see if I can get more cash.
You got plenty.
Got
As
plenty
usual,
of that
Levine is-
cash I didn't pay you from my own purse.
Levine might actually be contemplating if Blair went to the Radiance thing, so now she's like second guessing the fact that she still stared a hole through that guy. She's like, maybe we do need to go there to the house.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we can ask the captain. You seem to have a pretty good rapport with them. Maybe the captain knows.
Captain Leon
You're
or
smart,
the
Edgar.
Annalise.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, Captain Leon is, seems to be on his way towards the nearest beverage refreshment establishment with the wharf supervisor Annalise. You might be able to catch him on his way out of the district if you hurry.
Just scream really loudly, Leah!
I mean, we could also go for some refreshments, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's not a. We need to ask around, so that's not a bad place to start listening in on some stuff or
Yeah.
asking questions. So
I could go for 1 beers.
We'll say you're of legally drinking age in this world.
He might not be.
All right. So I think we have a pretty clear direction for Blair on their own. Then Cassandra, Edgar, and Levine are all kind of together. What's Zinnia up to?
Yeah, I assume Zinnia was obviously invited, but I guess if we're going to a bar, maybe we can't bring a kid in there. Says the 16-year-old.
Yeah, so Zinnia was totally interested in the Commune of Radiance, but then when that guy left, she was just like, alright, bye. So I guess if she thinks you're looking for Blair, she'll follow along with you. And then once you go into the bar, she'll just start wandering around looking for Blair.
Should we split up at all to go to the Radiance and the bar, or should we just go to the bar? You guys think? I'm fine with either way.
Let's just go to the bar for now.
Yeah, I think we can go to the
Okay.
tavern for now. And then
Bar
maybe once
first, sounds
Zinnia decides to leave, you can make a choice. While we're
Heck,
wandering
maybe we
through
can
the-
find out more about the Radiance when we're there
Mhm.
at the bar.
Okay. So you folks catch up with Captain Leon and follow him and wharf supervisor Annalise to a pub establishment called Hope's Abandon. And we'll find your place, and let's say it'll be about 10 zenit to have a night's worth of drinks and food and everything.
10 Zenit each.
Maybe total.
Okay.
Okay,
Just call it, I guess, 5 a person.
I can pay for it then.
Drinks are cheap.
Because I actually have the most money.
Levine is really thinking about, like, what's the dirtiest beer? What's the dirtiest ale, you know? Like, do I really need... I mean, the cheapest is kind of the idea. Like, it tastes dirty. It's kind of the... It tastes dirty is the thing. So
The
she's thinking about
filthiest
like
ale.
that. Yeah, just like kind of the not tastiest ale, the grossest. But she will put the 5 down, you know, maybe actually try to pretend that she's there on business.
Well, you see a very attractive young woman behind the bar who wears kind of a tired expression on her face. It's still pretty early in her shift, and you can't really tell if she's the owner of the bar or if she just works there, but she's obviously worked this particular gig for a while, and says, cheapest, dirtiest we got? That'd be a bilge water for you.
Levine stares back with the same dead eyes and like, I'll take it.
And she turns to a set of 4 casks that are all stacked on top of each other, where many of the other types of ale and beverages in the room come in a single barrel. They must move an absolutely astonishing amount of this bilge water stuff, because a lot of people are coming to this place to drink away their worries and want to do it on a budget. And So she fills it up, and the whole thing appears to be suds as she passes it down to you, and it's taking its time, bubbling up and revealing the amber liquid underneath.
Levine kind of takes notice of the fact they have it in stock, and they didn't have to like open up a weird thing, or there wasn't like weird aromas coming from whatever they're pouring it out of, and she's like, huh, must not be that bad. I'll have to come here more often. She just starts drinking it, even though it's sudsing, and it just kind of creates like a beard on her face.
Huge beard, just all over.
And she's just still has the same tired eyes, but she kind of looks like Santa Claus now. And then she takes out her brush and starts working out more knots, because she's thinking about that more, so she's got a beard, brushing, drinking.
Alright.
I guess,
We gotta find Leon, though, right?
yeah.
Leon's hanging out at a table with his mates and Annalise, and gestures over to you folks to come and pull up a chair and drink with them. You don't know how long this jolliness and joviality will last, considering what you folks went through. But there's a certain bond there that is being honored in the old ways of drinking and toasting to troubles past.
Okay, Levine goes right on over with her beard and brush and takes a nice seat right at the inside of the table. No, actually, she wants the outside seat.
I will say really quick too, because Zinnia broke off from us before we went into the bar, right? So I like to think that we established like a meetup time with a child to like, hey, meet back here.
Oh, I thought Zinnia was coming in with us.
Is Zinnia coming in with us?
I might have misinterpreted that.
Coming in from you?
I think she'll probably step through the threshold, and then when she gets like weird stares. Well, is this like a tavern or is this an inn?
It's definitely more of a tavern, but you get the idea that they don't really discriminate based on their clientele. There are definitely other people in this bar who may not be your age, but are definitely your size. And so it's definitely a place where nobody pays you any specific mind based on your stature or age.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna order.
I'll meet
Oh,
up
I should
time.
order a root beer for Zinnia because they're younger, and obviously that's what adults do for children or something.
Shirley Temple.
Those were my favorite when I would go to the bar with my parents as a kid.
What do you think I know?
A lot of dart tournaments.
The woman behind the bar.
Yeah.
The woman behind the bar
Oh, yeah.
rolls her eyes at your request and stands up on the bar and begins to shower you all with water. And no, Coyote Ugly reference. No, she's happy to pour you. She happily pours you a water, but with an assortment of fruit in it as the best that she can do. It's a bunch of garnishes essentially, and this is what passes for a non-alcoholic drink here is water with, a couple of mixers in it at best.
Hold up, Levine
Have
wants
you
one of those
seen the
too.
Goonies?
After, go ahead.
I just seriously
I have
want
not
to see
seen the
that
Goonies.
a movie called The Goonies. It basically wandered in this abandoned restaurant and asks for a water, and it comes out brown. That's what I'm picturing. Like, is this water? She goes,
I have
it's
not
wet, isn't it?
seen-
Thereabouts.
I feel like Levine, when she sees that, she actually wants one of those too. So she's gonna cough up another 5 coin for that. Quick.
5 is good for you to drink all night.
Okay. So yeah, she's got 1 beer and then 1 of those water fruit drinks.
Mm-hmm.
1
Yep.
dirty beer and yeah. looks really good. But yeah, I guess we go to Leon, and I'm just gonna ask right away. Hey, do you know where Blair might have head off to?
Blair? Well, I didn't see her leave the wharf whenever we docked, but I imagine she probably had business up by the keep.
She didn't say a thing to you?
Yeah, didn't they tell you that that it was the royal family that chartered the airship?
No. Why would the royal family have anything to do with this?
Hey, I don't ask how the money gets to me, but I do make a point to know who is paying me, and I know that this came from the treasury of Denova, the city itself, and that can only mean one thing. The royal family bankrolled your little trip out to the crater.
Whoa. I've never been on royal business before.
I've been on royal business plenty of times. It's usually dirtier than regular business.
Ah, do tell. And he pulls out a book and he starts writing things down.
And he goes off on a full tangent about the one time he worked for, a certain royal, and basically his ship was like a love bus for these two royals just to meet and have a place to mess around together, type kind of thing. And yeah, easiest 1500 gold zenith I've ever made.
Levine is chewing an orange rind right now, just slowly trying so hard to think about what is happening.
Cassandra is reconciling the fact that Blair is related to the royalty that of a country that Cassandra wasn't getting along with very much. She had to leave. But at the same time, I think too, Cassandra's also gonna ask, like maybe some more prying questions about to the wharf captain in specific about that radiance place and
oh gosh,
rumors she might have heard about it and that kind of stuff too, because I think that's also really important to.
Yeah. She's like, oh man, they bang on at every entrance to this city, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and taking over more of the city. The commune of Radiance, it's kind of their own little nation inside of Denova. They basically follow the laws of Denova, and they rent space from the kingdom of Denova, but other than that, they don't pay taxes. They kind of bankroll their own people. Some of them do services in the city, but it's largely a self-contained kind of little unit that lives in the city and kind of takes care of itself, and in this kind of socialist way. And she says to you that she minds how much they advertise and make noise on her wharf, but there's not really much she can do about it. But she's never known them to be anything more than an annoyance at worst, and a lifeline at best to some refugees that come off of boats and things at her dock. And she hasn't met a person who's had a bad thing to say about it.
Oh, so she sees the people that they take in again?
Yeah, she be so
they
the
don't just up and disappear is my question.
Yeah, so I have a picture that I've failed to upload or recreate digitally, but essentially the wharf is on the east side of Denova near the bay that it's positioned near on the map here, and pretty much the center of the city is where the keep is, and then surrounding that on the west side is more of the commercial district, and on the east side is more of the residential district. And the bottom half of the residential district, maybe a little less than half, is occupied by the commune of Radiance.
So wait, they don't sound like they do that bad of a... They're not like that manipulative, or...
Has
What's the
their-
word?
How would you know? You just got here and heard 1 or 2 opinions on it.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why we have to ask more questions.
Hmm.
I will ask one more thing. Is the commune always been the same size, or are they expanding territory?
They're definitely getting bigger, you know, especially with the Empire expanding more and more. People are getting displaced all the time, and the Commune of Radiance has the word of this this community has spread in whispers and in messages throughout the world that if you have nowhere else to go, that there is a place for you there and that they can take care of you.
So Levine kind of wants to do an intimidation check on herself to stop herself from like breaking her mug. Because she's just stewing in her head there listening to this, so she's like just gripping it so tightly. Not an intimidation check, but she's like trying to restrain herself.
Alright, so roll willpower and might with difficulty of 10.
Okay, willpower might. This will be easy. Nope, never mind. That's a 7.
7. You crush your drink. It's all over the place. People are kind of giving you the stink eye. Hey, what's going on? Come on now. And then
she takes her.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
They realize that it was just the water drink that you've crushed, and
I crushed the beer drink.
Oh, you crushed the beer drink? Oh, well then, man, how could you waste bilge water? Good hearty bilge water like that.
She's gonna pull the fruity drink up to her mouth and says, "This is way better." And she's gonna do an intimidation check on the whole bar.
Okay.
Why would you pick Vinny's drink? That's
9, dang. Staring them all down as she's sipping.
Roll 2 willpower die.
Oh, 2 willpower? Well, I'll just roll one more. Should I just reroll? Well, I'll just roll one more. I got a 14 with that one. I got a 6 and a 9.
Okay. At this point, Captain Leon says, "Sit down before you get yourself into a hole you can't get out of." And the lady behind the bar is giving you the biggest stink eye. Like, hey, shut up and sit down immediately. And she brings you over another bilge water and slams it down in front of you and says, "On the house, keep the peace."
To be fair, Levine was sitting the entire time, but she was still just staring at everyone while sipping with dark eyes. So, but she doesn't say anything in response to this.
Everybody else kind of goes back to their drinks after seeing the lady behind the bar set that down in front of you, and has sent a pretty clear message to the other patrons in the bar. Keep everything under a tight lid and keep order, or get the hell out of my bar. You don't cause problems and get to drink here.
She reapplies her Sud's beard and calms down.
Anyone else? Questions?
Levine does, yeah. I think we need to go check on Blair at the
go look around.
What's Cassandra doing?
I was gonna say, I was more so gonna ask you a question specific. I kind of typed it earlier too. Was the symbol of Alonia ever established?
I don't think so. I think we just did the one for Desdemona. But yeah, I will try to establish it before our next game.
So I was wondering if it had like sun or star imagery in it, because I was gonna be like, I'm suspicious of that radiance thing being related to Alona now.
No, I would say
it's to take over via this cult.
Try to take over.
I would say that the symbols for Elonia it's probably an E, and that E is in the shape of tools, but it's also got some, clear magical or flame elements to it. So something along those lines.
Okay.
Probably has a bunch of skulls too, because they're
A bunch of skulls.
they're the baddies.
One for each country that they've conquered. There's like a
Right.
little skull along the border or something.
All right. Do you folks have any other questions for Leon or
Thanks.
anyone else at the bar?
I guess Cassandra's question about are there any ties from Elonia and this Cult of Radiance? But I don't know if Levine would ask that. But that does sound like a question to ask, though. We just want people very quiet about it.
Yeah, I just don't think we have any real evidence to link them right now.
Yeah, we don't have not in the game at least. No.
It's around this time that you notice that the troubadour who was at the wharf has now come to the bar and has pulled up a chair of his own and is having a drink.
Well, speak of the light.
Yeah, Lavina's going to remind herself of what Edgar told her, like, don't break something if you don't need to fix it. And she's going to put both glasses down and she's just going to put her hands together and not look in that direction.
Good for
Just-
you.
She's just twiddling her thumbs there with her metal gauntlets.
I think if Cassandra sees that person come in, she is going to approach him.
Okay. He looks up from his drink and says, "Hey, did I see you at the wharf earlier?"
Yeah, we ran into each other. I wanted to ask some more questions about the place you were mentioning.
Sure. Have a seat. Can I get you something to drink?
No, I have something. Cassandra's gonna, she probably brought over her drink, I like to think, maybe. But,
Hmm?
yeah.
Sure. Says, well, what can I tell you?
I think I'm gonna ask, tell me more about your organization. Who's in charge? I'm just so curious about, because I heard that you guys are taking in a lot of refugees and doing some good things around the city. This place wasn't here last time I was here, so.
Oh, well, our leader is Faith Speaker Margulis, and he's really the one who kind of communes with the light and really directs us on the path. He helps everyone who comes to him, all the refugees that you mentioned, and he speaks to everyone who wants to enter the commune and finds a way for everyone to help as they're able and make sure that they're provided for when they're not able. And make sure that everyone has a place to sleep and a place to eat, and that their basic needs are taken care of. Most of our immigrants are from the Elonian Empire, but there are a fair number of Denovans and really a couple folks from all over the globe that reside within the commune.
You said earlier there were tenets we had to adhere to. What are the requisite tenets?
Well, basically, you have to uphold the tenets of the light, which is being kind to one another, helping everyone who is a member of the Commune of Radiance when they ask for help, and making sure to show up at least once a week to to the temple to pay your respects and to offer prayers at the altar and seek guidance as needed from the faith speaker.
Can you only get guidance from the faith speaker, or is it just like as like specifically more?
No, the faith speaker really he meets with everyone, and sometimes you only get to talk to him in a group setting, and he commands lots of different people, so lots of the laborers and workers who are out doing repairs kind of all get together and speak with him on one day, and then lots of the caretakers of the children meet on another day, and it all kind of works out like that. But he tries to make time for everybody to be met with individually, especially newcomers.
Okay, and is there any kind of punishments if you don't meet any of these tenants? Are you like kicked out? Or...
Well, we haven't had too many problems with people not following the rules, and most of what we ask is similar to the laws of the city already. But really, there were a couple ne'er-do-wells from time to time, and you know, when you stop helping your neighbor and your fellow Radiants, Radiants, when you stop helping your fellow Radiants and stop being a good neighbor, you have a chance to reform yourself. But if you are not being a member of the community and helping as much as everyone else helps you, then that is cause for excommunication. But that's only happened in very rare circumstances. It's not the kind of thing that happens to people who can't help themselves or can't help out or aren't doing things intentionally. That kind of thing only happens to people who were out to try and exploit others and that couldn't be trusted.
And is this something that were these people like put on a trial, or was it just sort of stated that they did something wrong and they were kicked out?
Well,
I'm just wondering how, like, if I were to like act, if I were to break a rule without realizing, or maybe like, or something like that, just to know what would happen.
Well, the faith speaker really has the final say on everything. Generally, we try to take care of each other as a community and steer each other very well, but in the case where we can't resolve something, the faith speaker gets involved and lets us know what is the true path to happiness and togetherness.
Interesting. That sounds very interesting. Like, are you all assigned roles to like do while you're there, like different chores, or do like some? Because I'm assuming it sounds like you all sort of, like, you say, you keep saying you all take care of each other. So is there like a communal kitchen and like stuff like that you all eat at, or is it like?
Absolutely. Being a part of the commune, the community is a huge part of it. So yes, we have lots of people who are cooks and work in meeting halls and large gathering spaces, and but we also have people who are building new structures and taking care of children, and some people who sail ships and bring back fish, and some people who are making the rounds out to the forest in order to bring back more timber, and out to the Haldiak fields in order to bring back and purchase some harvests. And we also have some people who actually work as members of the city guard, and so they are also drawing an income from the city as well. And that's kind of, we do commerce with the city and do certain jobs outside of the community, but all of it is with the goal of enriching the community itself.
So I think the last question that Cassandra is going to ask before wishing this person a good evening is what you mentioned that the faith speaker speaks to the light. I'm really curious. What is the light? It sounds fascinating.
Well, the light is what guides us. It keeps us true and makes sure that when we're all one together in the light, we're warm and provided for and happy. Have you ever stood in the sunlight and felt the heat on your skin and felt kind of your spirit kind of raise a little bit? That's the light speaking through you and moving through you and giving you its warmth and inviting you into its community.
Well, that sounds very lovely. Maybe I'll have to stop in and pay a visit sometime. I'm gonna go back to speaking with my friends, though. I don't know, because I don't know if Zinnia has more questions. But
If you're out sailing a ship, how can you come back every week? That doesn't sound very doable.
Well, we do our best, and sometimes it's every other week. We try to meet on the regular, but we're trying to bring in food and sustenance. Our main purpose in being out on the ships is bringing back food to help sustain the community. And so they don't generally go on long voyages. Whenever we send someone like myself, another troubadour. My name's Carson, by the way. Thanks for asking. Whenever somebody sends...
I totally forgot. I apologize.
Whenever somebody sends us out on a mission to bring more into our flock, we generally charter a ship in order to do that. We don't... most of our ships are focused on just bringing in fish, and so they're never out for more than 2 or 3 days at a time. I mean, they need to rest.
How can one person know all the answers to everything? That doesn't make sense to Zinnia. But she doesn't say that doesn't make sense.
Well,
this person is saying what they've been told.
Even the faith speaker doesn't know everything. He works hard and communes with the light frequently and receives and is able to translate those directives into the tenets and the instructions for us to follow. I don't think he has all the answers either. He frequently says to people who ask him for help, I need to meditate on this with the light and get back to you. He's very thoughtful and genuinely seems to seek counsel, and does not speak for himself. He speaks for the light.
I'm sorry, my question is why it seems like other people should also have answers and not just this one person.
This person is taking care of us, and so we trust them enough to continue taking care of us as a community. We have no reason to question him, and I understand if that doesn't work for you, but we would love for more people to come and see it and see what we're all about. And I think you would see things the same way we do if you gave it a try. That being said, it's the Commune of Radiance is for everyone, but it's not to everyone's taste, and we try not to reform people who aren't looking to be reformed. But you'll never know sometimes if someone is looking for a place to belong until you call out to them and ask them, where do you belong?
Yeah, I think Zinnia is intrigued by this. her theme is justice with a minor in belonging. So the idea of everyone taking care of each other sounds really good. From her background, she's kind of confused by there's one supreme authority, but she's definitely intrigued.
Levine was kind of listening the whole time, and she's like just kind of trying to mutter under her breath at you guys as she's sitting there like, don't listen to anything they say. Don't trust them. And then she sips her fruit drink.
Does anyone have any more questions for anyone at the bar?
I think while this was happening, Edgar was probably within earshot, just to keep taking that in, but was having a nice, healthy conversation with the bartender, saying like, no, you see, like if you just drop the abandoned, then the place would be called Hopes, and it would be way better place. Have you considered that?
I mean, people don't come here to get hope. People come here because they haven't got any left.
Right, but if it's just called Hopes, it'd be like, this place belongs to somebody named Hope. Are you named Hope? Because that would be really convenient.
No, my name is Jordana, and I am the proprietress of the bar. Thank you very much. And Hope's Abandon has been good to me ever since I bought her, years ago, and she's gonna stay exactly the way she is. I appreciate the sentiment, but it means more to me the way it is now.
You know what? I can respect that. That's great. Not as great as Hope's.
You want another drink or not, little man?
He's like, oh no, I think I've had too many already, and he's had like a glass of milk.
I think so too, and she turns her attention to another patron.
Levine does want to ask the wharf supervisor, Annalise, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. She does want to ask her, does she know of, like, who has the best info on magical objects that she knows of in the city? Because of the compass, but she just asked about magical objects.
You know who you want to talk to? If you need anything magic related, you want to talk to Preserver Ashara. She is probably the most in tune with magic person that I know. She studies all kinds of different magic. If something's magical, she knows how to tell you what kind of at least what kind of school of magic it is and what it should do.
All right, Levine pulls out her notebook and asks, where can we find this Preserver Ashara?
Oh, she works at the library, the Denova library.
Thank you very much. And she closes up her notebook, and she gets up, carrying both her drinks, heads over to the group, and starts sipping. So we have to decide if we want to go to the Denova library or after Blair.
Zinnia's gonna say, I didn't realize there are other schools of magic, because she thinks you're literally talking about a school for magic people.
I do think we should probably
Blair.
Yeah, it is technically getting to be dark at nighttime, so I do think we would probably at least try to wander around for a while looking for Blair, see if anyone's spotted them. I do, because we can always go someplace else tomorrow. Is my thing. We're not necessarily in a huge, I know we have the slots on the clock that we need to watch out for, but
So we probably just want to go to would it be some kind of accounting office for royalty that we'd want to go to, from what Leon was telling us?
Well, you said to go straight to the keep, so we just
Okay,
walk up
the
there.
keep.
You just walk in,
go to
right?
the keep. Yeah.
I don't think we can just walk in, you guys. It's not usually how castles and keeps work.
But
I mean, do you
don't
know anyone
Well,
else who works at the
that's why I'm
keep?
saying that, 'cause I do know.
Leon
Wait, do you
tells
work in a castle?
Leon
Yeah, I used to
tells
work
you
at the store.
that the operation was bankrolled by one. Caretaker Larice. Out of the Denova Keep.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. We got a name.
Caretaker Louise?
Larice's Pieces.
Okay. At this point, it sounds like Cassandra and Edgar and Levine and Zinnia have a direction. I'd like to switch over to Blair for a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Blair, you get to the keep. The guards recognize you and don't say anything. They just let you walk right by. They know exactly who you are. And what happens once you get to the keep?
I imagine that when Blair arrives to the gates, it's just sort of like a nod to the guards, like, you know, hey, you're doing a great job as always. And then just like kind of strolls into the courtyard. I'm imagining there's some sort of courtyard out there. And sort of just lollygags a bit because there's this impending dread of going against her father's wishes to investigate outside of the kingdom in relation to fear of the Elonian Empire attacking. And given that there wasn't necessarily full-on evidence, like there was some, Blair isn't sure how to bring up the topic. Not to mention that they kind of snuck off and did whatever they wanted when it was kind of like, yeah, stay in the keep, don't go out there. So yeah, Blair is purposely stalling to find out where the king is.
Okay. You hear, while you're in the courtyard and garden area, you hear, I see you're back. You recognize this as the voice of Earth Warden Maeve, who tends to the parks and greenery in the castle of Denova.
Is this, what gender is this? I'm sorry, I wasn't sure by the name.
Female. I don't do good female voices.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Nah,
so
you could have fooled me.
turns around and looks at Earth Warden Maeve and just sort of makes a big smile. Yeah, I just got back. The gardens look great as always. You did fabulous this year. And, you know, Blair is doing everything to talk about anything but, you know, what they've been up to.
Well, of course the flowers and the gardens look well. They're well tended to. Was your task well tended to?
Oh god. This Blair... Okay, above table. Is this person kind of like someone I feel like Blair would confide in, or is that kind of like a me discretion sort of choice? Because, like, I don't know who this is out of character exactly.
This is someone who is a little bit more elderly, who is obviously has a lot of knowledge of botany and caretaking of the grounds and everything. Someone who you would perceive to be wise in a certain way, based on lived experience, and generally, you know, kind of steers clear of conflict most of the time, and but, you know, is still, you know, when they say something, it's deliberate, and they know what they're getting into. And so I would say of Earth Warden Maeve, you know that what you see is what you get, type kind of thing. There's not a lot of deception there, but there's definitely some hard edges and some reservation as well.
What is the king's take on them? Like, I assume Blair would have seen their father's interactions with them as well.
Completely
like,
ignores
a
them.
sign of respect. Oh,
Completely ignores her. You know, at most, you know, a ceremonial thank you for taking care of everything, but it's really, it's kind of understood that this person has a job on the grounds and they do it well, and as long as there's no problem, there's nothing to talk about. The king has many other more important things going on and rattling around in his mind.
Gotcha. In that case, Blair would just sort of give kind of like a vague response of, yeah, it went okay. My test was relatively successful and unsuccessful, but, life of royalty, kind of making a smile.
Okay, to which Earth Warden Maeve says, then why are you here and not in the king's chamber?
The big question of the day. One that I unfortunately don't have an answer for you. Have a good day. Players can walk off.
Okie dokie. You make your way into the keep, where you run into Caretaker Larice. And Caretaker Larice is a middle-aged woman who runs the kind of day-to-day of the keep. The maintenance and so on. Just kind of generally responsible for the housekeeping and everything, and mostly directing other people to take care of it and making sure to anticipate the needs of the denizens of Denova Castle. She is also partially responsible for raising Blair a little bit. That it's always been somebody you could kind of count on, because Caretaker Larice often encourages Blair's behaviors and growths, and I think Blair might identify with Larice a little bit because Larice uses her station to help others, often discreetly when she is able. One good example is making sure that there was enough liquid funds to hire an airship to indulge your ambitions.
Oh, okay. But, does she notice me coming up to her?
Yep. Oh, Blair, you're back. I'm so glad you're safe. Your father will be most interested to hear from you. He's been wondering where you are.
Yeah, so Blair kind of just reaches up to remove the hat on their head, kind of in a show of respect to Caretaker Larice. Not that it was necessary, but holds it with both hands in front of them, kind of, squeezing it, given the apprehension they feel, and it's they kind of look down a minute, and then they look back up to Larice and say, yeah, I'm back. I just got back. I do have a bit of a report for Dad, the king, but, I'm not so sure it's as good as I was hoping.
And Larice immediately picks up on you being a little bit downtrodden and embraces you and says, I'm sure it's not as bad as it sounds. What of your companions? Are they with you? Should I leave word with the guards? What would you have me do?
I didn't tell them that I was part of the royal family. They're really nice people. I want to make sure they have a nice place to stay, but I don't want to know about...
Consider it done, she interrupts you, and she claps her hands, and another member of the staff comes over, and Larice mentions to her to send someone out to go and find your companions based on the descriptions that you gave her, and she hurries the servant along and says, is there anything else you need?
Well, I kind of want a check on somebody. but other than that, I don't know who they were, but they didn't come with us originally to the crater. They just came back on the airship with us. A little girl. I think they're missing their parents, maybe? I didn't talk to them. And she's definitely referring to Zinnia.
Mhm.
It's because the duty in her is sort of like, I don't know if this is an orphan that we just found in the forest, but did not hear any of the story between Edgar and them about being from Pennsylvania or any of that and working with the Empire. So Blair is more like, this is a child we found in the woods.
Okay. She calls the servant back and says, "Hey, hang on, wait. Also look for. Would you say her name was Zinnia? Zinnia. Go and find this Zinnia. 11-year-old girl travels around with a cat, impeccably groomed. Go, go, go! Hurry!" And says, "Okay. You better go and talk to your father. I'm pretty sure as soon as you stepped foot off of that airship, he knew." That you had come home.
Blair kind of like taps their fingers a minute, and then looks up at Larice and is like, "Is that all he knows?"
Hard to say. He doesn't share matters of diplomacy or family with me in all cases, but I do know the spy master was up there whispering in his ear. And that was a short while ago. I'm just connecting dots here.
Yeah, okay, and above table, would Blair know if there was, like, I don't know, I'm not sure what equivalent this would be, but are there, like, any, like, spies in the kingdom? Like, or is it just, like, guards? Like, there's no really fancy, like, sneaky wizard or roguey type people that works for the old king, right? Or would I not know this?
So, you have never been privy to these types of discussions. You've not been involved in that type of clandestine operations, but you know that they exist. Everybody knows that they exist.
Oh,
There's
jeez.
spies in every kingdom, everywhere. And it's as dangerous as a profession as it gets, and if they're doing their job well, they're not noticed, and they're very secretive. So, yes, you're aware of it, but you haven't been let in on anything in particular.
Okay, in that case, Blair's just going to, internally assume that while they had been trying to be secretive about their doings, they're feeling like they might have had a tail now, and will casually make their way towards the throne room, assuming that's where good old Dad is.
Mm-hmm. That is, in fact, where he is.
So yeah, like, I imagine this throne room is super immaculate, with the typical pillars, archways, show of power, maps, and all that.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that.
Oh, okay.
I have a picture of it here.
I don't know.
Yep, I have a picture of Denova, too, that I totally forgot to bring up earlier.
Thumbs up.
Go ahead and drop some of them. Play sheet. Below the clocks.
See it.
Ooh. Oh.
Yeah, that chair is very scary and imposing.
With nowhere to sit?
That huge thing is a throne.
That is a big throne. How big is my dad? Jeez.
You got a thick dad.
I know.
Big dad energy.
So
Feel
you
like-
Chair is so metal.
you mostly make out the outline details of this, and so you more than others know that the kingdom of Denova doesn't generally trade in Magitech. They tend to rely more on elementalist magic in order to go about their strategies and business. And so when you walk into this room, you can see the flames behind the the imposing throne, and it actually floats above this marbled foyer that you walk into, like several feet, like 5 or 6 feet above, and there's no obvious way to get up to where the king sits, short of jumping and climbing up there. It's designed to have this very imposing, very regal, very high looking down kind of effect, and it works particularly even on you, even though you've been in this room more than a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I feel the weight.
And let's see, who's in the room? So King Roland is up on the throne. Also in the room is Sherwin, the vanguard of the city. You know Sherwin. He's the leader of the Denova military and police force. He spends most of his time developing defenses for Denova and sending out small scouting parties to ensure that nothing is going to breach the walls. Lots of creature incursions, but nothing super military in origin. And the enforcement of peace inside the city is relatively minimal. Also in the room is Faith Speaker Margulis, who is also there speaking to King Roland when you arrive.
Does the conversation continue even when I enter the room, or does it like stop awkwardly and they look, or?
Nope. As soon as you walk in, there's a huge, as soon as the doors open, ka-chonk, like, and immediately the voices stop because these huge heavy doors are opening to this chamber, and it is impossible to keep secret the fact that someone has entered this room, at least from this side. And they watch as you approach, and the king dismisses the two other people in the room and says, "We'll continue this discussion later." And he says, Blair, welcome home. Tell me of your exploits."
Yes, King Roland, father. Yeah, so when we took the airship, got some friends from in town, maybe. We arrived at, the Forest of Yore, near the crater, and got attacked by a cannon of some sort. There was like magical energy, knocked the airship down, we crashed, I'm fine. We went to investigate the crater, and as much as I know this was against your wishes, we think there's some affiliation, or I think there was some affiliation with the Elonian Empire. There was this woman there that reclaimed a compass of sorts, I think, or had a compass, trying to resurrect her brother. Her name was Desdemona. And she was not too thrilled with us interfering, so we fought them and defeated her, got the compass, and when we went back to the airship, the crew was missing. The forest had come to life, I think, according to one of my companions, because I didn't get pulled into the forest like they did. Yeah, and there was a lot of monster trees and the likes attacking us, and we eventually liberated them, more them than me. And yeah, I made it back in one piece.
So you just spilled everything, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a full debrief, even though it was very nerve-riddled there.
Okay. King Roland sits and listens to your recounting of the story patiently, and looks looks concerned, let's say, and he asks you, so what do you have to show for this expense to the crown? What did you learn? What has been gained? A compass?
Blair just kind of takes a moment to reevaluate what they had divulged and pretty much ends up nodding. They don't feel like there was really enough there to support any additional information, and says there wasn't more like what I thought there might be.
Okay.
Like there was Alonian machines, you know, the robots in there, but
Alright. At this time, I'm going to introduce another clock for you.
Oh dear. Okay.
And so, you are going to...
Oh no.
You are in a position where you have to... Well, what's your goal with the king, really? What do you want to get out of this?
So Blair has a bond with the king of admiration and wanted to really kind of take a moment to try to prove themselves. And they are coming to terms with the fact that they didn't really succeed in what they were hoping. They kind of failed in their duty to protect the other people on the airship, and they're more disappointed with themselves than what the king probably could be. So, at this point, it's just sort of Blair trying to kind of reconcile the fact and find a means to make up for it, and would probably take a knee in front of King Roland and just says, I want to become what you want from me as your heir, and I failed.
Okay.
And gonna hang.
So, I'm gonna call this clock immediately resolved. It sounds like you are yielding the conflict entirely and just owning up and saying, yep, it sucked, this happened, what do I do? Right?
Yeah, pretty much. She's leaving it in his court to make a decision.
Alright. And the king begins to step down from the throne, and you can see as he steps down some invisible, that you don't see them, but you know that they are there. You can hear them, and you can kind of visualize that there are these blasts of air that move in time with the king's steps, and slowly, gently, as he walks towards you, continues to descend down onto the main floor, where he puts his hands on your shoulders and he says, "Rise, child."
Blair does so and eases up onto their feet to look up at him.
And he says, "Blair, I've often tried to imagine how to leave this world in your hands and to use your talents and ambitions and shape what kind of leader you're going to be. But I don't quite understand how you're going to lead, how those talents are going to manifest yet. And I think you need to work harder at this. I need you to go out and find your power, your way of leading. It can't be taught. It can be guided. It can be shaped. It can be molded. And I've done my best with that, but I can't do it for you. This is a big setback. And I know a decent amount about this situation as it's unfolding, and I'm in a really difficult position as a leader. I've had to make Denova an isolationist country where we don't provoke any of the other countries or nearby cities. We maintain our distance and our trade, and folks tend to leave us alone, but I fear that it may not always be enough, and I might not always be here for you. So I need you to get back out there, find yourself, find your purpose, find your strength for this kingdom. Can you do that?
Blair takes the sullen and saturates it in with their, previous failure, but, given that, it feels like the king is... It doesn't sound like he's on his last leg, so to speak, but wants kind of the best for Blair, so Blair's feeling a little more confident and trying again because he's kind of encouraging the fact to go find their strength, and Blair just will promptly nod and say, "I will do so, Father."
Okay then. Stay the night here. Your companions are being fetched, I understand. And this is something you're going to have to do on your own. And I can't bankroll another expedition like that. We're hemorrhaging money at the moment because money goes out to this commune of radiance and it doesn't come back. We are struggling. The only way that I'm keeping this city afloat is through difficult trades with other nations and selling and renting the little space that we have left in the city. It's starting to become extremely tense and the people are becoming desperate. So I need you to try and solve this problem on your own. Take that compass to the preserver and see what you can find out about it.
Okay, I can do that. And Father, would it be possible if I could look at our archives for maybe our past leadership led for discovering myself?
Certainly, you're going to be in the library anyway with the preserver. You might as well make a trip there. Take a couple of books with you, okay? But we need a solution sooner rather than later.
And Blair would nod and then just say, "Is there something wrong, Dad? Outside of this?" Because outside of the character, I feel like they're sensing something's amiss.
Nothing that you need to worry about. You need to focus on you and let me lead this kingdom.
Blair nods and then kind of dips their head forward. "I will." And then takes a minute to kind of step forward and give like an arm hug to the king.
He kind of awkwardly hugs you back. It's always been kind of difficult for him because he's, so often he's very distant and nods and at most shakes hands. But most of the time, people are bowing to him. He's not usually the one that is doing that. He's unaccustomed to physical contact, but you can kind of tell that he's doing his best with it.
Yeah, and Blair would just sort of bow their head and be like, "Okay, I'm off then, unless there was more."
Not unless you have questions for me.
Have you heard of Desdemona before?
can't say that I have. There's so many lieutenants in so many different places. I couldn't possibly know them all.
Okay. Will you be meeting my companions when they come, or are you not?
I don't think that that's necessary. I'm quite busy at the moment, unless they have an urgent matter of state that needs to be addressed. I think it would be best if you and your companions were off as soon as possible, and hopefully you can convince them to continue along with you.
Yeah, and Blair kind of nods and internally is frowning like, oh boy, I'll do my best. And then just sort of bows their head and is like, well, thank you for taking this time to talk to me, and then sort of retreats from the throne room.
Yep. He watches you go out and the door shut behind you. For the other party members, the sort of you come across city guards have been out kind of looking for you folks and have tracked you down and had insisted that you follow them to the keep. Does anyone have a problem with following along with the guard's invitation to the keep?
No, that's great. I was heading there anyways. I didn't really know where I was
That's
going.
fine.
Saves me some trouble.
Levine is a bit reserved just because she hates authority as a general rule, but she's going to go along with it. Also, any royalty there who might have been to the United States of America might actually know her, and anybody in the kingdom castle there. So some who have presumed her dead too. So that could be a thing because it's like the first time she's been in a castle since that time. So.
Well, it's possible that you might be able to mask your face or blend in a little bit.
Yeah, she looks very different. She's not even concerned about that, but I figured I'd mention that could be a thing. Someone might recognize her face, but she also looks very different now, having aged quite a bit. So.
Okay.
Zinnia is gonna say, but we have to find Blair.
The guards inform you that Blair is at the keep waiting for you.
Alright. Zinnia's confused, but she doesn't have any better leads.
Blair's a princess. Levine
Okay.
whispers that to Zinnia.
So, the rest of the party is escorted to the keep and meets up with Blair, and I think that is where I'm gonna end the session for today.
Yeah.
Fair.
Nice.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like break that up. I was just like, I can't stay up that late.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, it
Gotta
is.
stop
It
at
is
some
late.
point.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for watching. We haven't decided on a next date, but we'll hopefully see you soon. Hope you enjoyed this session. See you next time.